idea whether or not my fucking system will hold up to the task of Elden Ring and the streaming at the same time. But I haven't streamed for several days, and I want to get back into it. Truthfully, there have been a lot of things going on in my life that I have prioritized rather than streaming, even though streaming brings me so much joy. But I've been trying to get a real job, and I'm excited about the possibility of getting this real job. And I have been playing Elden Ring, but since my system seems to struggle with trying to, stream while I'm playing Elden Ring, I kind of prioritize playing Elden Ring over streaming, right? Because I did want to get into it. I do enjoy it, and I've been missing out. I'd been wanting to play the game on stream because, for the most part, I love FromSoft games. I love the skill level that it takes. But with me, I'm not a skilled gamer in any capacity. I also don't very much like PvP shit. I don't like battle royale shit. I don't like shoot 'em up type games. I do like games that require skill. However, I don't necessarily like the aspect of being invaded and getting my shit pushed in by somebody who is just expert level gamer, right? So, one thing that you'll realize is where I'm located, okay? It's early on in the game, and you might compare my location and the progress that I've made in the game to my character's level, and you might notice a difference there, okay? The main reason for that is because, like I said, I'm usually not a sore loser. To me, competition is silly. Um, and it took a long time for me to not be a sore loser. Well, I say it took a long time. It didn't. It didn't really take a long time. People, even to this day, grown ass men and women, absolutely cannot handle the prospect of losing at anything, right? I'm not one of those people. I don't care. Being the youngest of three brothers growing up and us all taking part in different competitive sports or activities, I often found that, especially when we were younger, I was always the last to accomplish any skill level at whatever activity or sport it was, right? Um, my middle brother, Tim, he is a large American. He's like 6'3", 300 pounds. So he played football, was pretty good at it. He also played baseball and was just a colossal human being. He hit puberty early, had a massive growth spurt, and so he was a pitcher, and he towered over everybody else. Okay, and it was scared the shit out of the kids that would come up to bat against him on the opposing team because my brother was massive, and the prospect of having to hit one of his fastballs was terrifying. And so, being the youngest and being the last to hit puberty, I wasn't skilled at the sports or activities nearly as early on as both of my older brothers were. So I would lose all the time, just constant. If it was competition between me and either one of them, I would lose. It wasn't that I wasn't giving it my all. It's just that, they were better than me. And for lots of different reasons. And so, pretty early on when we were kids, I developed the capacity to lose with grace. And I think that's a big reason why I don't necessarily give a shit about partaking in sports or activities like that anymore, is because I don't have any innate desire to win at those type of sports or activities. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? I don't know if that makes any fucking sense. But what I'm getting at is I just don't care. Like I like watching some sports. I'm, admittedly like a fair weather fan. If the football team around here is doing good, I'm on their side and I might support them. Hockey is the sport that I follow the closest, and I barely even watch it. I just haven't been a sports guy, haven't been a competitive guy. So all this is a long-winded way of saying that whenever I play a FromSoft game, I am always leveled up far, far more than I need to be to tackle a certain area, so that I have a specific level of certainty that I'm going to be able to pass that area within the game. Furthermore, the areas that I'm playing at, like I said, I will not proceed through those areas until I am sure that I am beyond sufficient level to do so. And when it comes to being invaded, the part that I don't like about it is not necessarily that I get killed, but that it might set me back. You know, I might lose. What do they call them in this game? I continue to call them souls because of the Dark Souls games. The ashes, or whatever it is that you get from killing each one of these guys. I can't remember. I just call them souls. I still call these fucking lanterns. I think it's hilarious when you find a new one that says touch grace. That to me just sounds incredibly, incredibly funny. Because the first few times I read it, I thought it said touch grass. And that was even fucking funnier. Because that would have been incredible for them to slip into this game. Like, go outside and fucking touch grass. Stop being such a weirdo. Anyway, I'm playing Elden Ring. I have no idea how this is going to go. This is my shitty intro to the stream. It's me back after several days of not streaming. I was just playing for fun, right? And I have my streaming software up, and I've got everything tweaked and tuned the way that I think that the system should be able to handle it, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to shit out on me. I've tried to go into my OBS streaming software and kind of streamline the layout so that there's not as many dynamic components like frames and sources and scenes and just I've tried to streamline everything so that it's not as taxing on the system, okay? So what I'm doing right now is I'm just playing Elden Ring. And I decided to turn on the stream and see how it goes. Okay, might crap out, don't know. But you guys are welcome to watch. I'm going to try to be entertaining as much as I can be. Beyond that, you are also going to have to experience the same things that I do. And what I mean by that is I will play the same area over and over and over and over and over and over and over so that I can pad my skill level, okay, or my character's level. Like the first giant that you come across, I've probably fought him 50 times. And I'm not even kidding. Because immediately I noticed, by comparison, I was getting, each time you kill that asshole, you get 1,000 ashes for it, or souls, or whatever. And everybody else that you kill in this area is like 65 to 77. So immediately I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's the first big fight that I've come across. It gave me 1,000 ashes, or whatever they're called. And so I quickly was like, I'm just going to keep fighting this asshole. And to me, it was actually kind of shocking that he resets each time, because I thought he was like a major boss. And I was assuming that maybe after you kill that asshole, you do it once and he doesn't come back. But noticing that he does come back each time that you sit down at the site of grace, or whatever the fuck it's called, and he comes back. So I just kept killing his ass over and over and over again. Because initially I just wanted to have the dexterity or the strength to wield a certain weapon. And so that was my main goal. But then after a while, I just was like, I'm going to keep doing this. Again, I don't like to progress through this game because I suck at skill-based games. So I apologize in advance if you see me doing the same section over and over again. It's because I'm trying to pad my stats, right? Again, I'm just not good at these games, so I do replay the same section a few times in order to pad my stats. So yes, I apologize for that in advance. I also apologize. Runes, that's what they're fucking called. I'm sorry. I'll try to keep the shit straight, but between the Dark Souls games, between Bloodborne, and all the different names that they've given, like the bonfires and the torches and all the different shit, the lanterns, souls, blood vials, whatever the hell they were called between the different games. You'll probably hear me use those interchangeably. I apologize. I try to keep the shit straight, but it is what it is. So, yes, I invite you to come along as I play this game, and hopefully my system won't crap out on me. It might, but we're gonna take that chance. So I probably need to go back the other way, but I just ventured this direction because I knew there was some asshole riding a horse over here. I knew earlier on as I ventured through this direction that he was stronger than me, but I heard this guy calling out to me, so I want to see who the hell he is. Where's he at? Where you at, man? What's this? Look carefully ahead. Oh.
Stop pretending you can't see me.
What the fuck are you? I really can't. Am I stupid? Let me get out.
Why won't anyone look me in the eye?
Is that you?
I'm not that ugly, am I?
Are you a sheep? Who are you? What? Time for attacking? Where? Well, I know those assholes on the horse need attacked. Who was talking? That's what I mean. I heard this voice as I was fighting that dickhead for the first time.
Oi! You there? Could you help us out, Cully?
What the fuck is Cully? The voice is this direction.
Yeah, you there?
What?
Stop pretending you can't see me.
Am I high? I mean, I know this is probably the gag, right? Is he's invisible? Or he's bush?
Why won't anyone look me in the eye?
Because
I'm not that ugly, am I?
is this you? It won't target anybody. This says time for attacking, but it doesn't have any appraisals. So that to me is like, okay, I'm not gonna attack this person. They don't sound hostile. How do you see them?
Oi! You there?
You're this bush, right?
Help us out, Cully.
This is the bush, right? This is the bush talking to me? Tell me I'm not stupid. But it won't let me interact with him, so apparently.
Yeah, you there? Stop pretending you can't see me.
I don't know, man. I guess I'll just have to fuck with that later. Either it's something that I...
Why won't anyone look me in the eye? I'm not that ugly, am I?
I don't know. I really can't tell. I truthfully can't tell. I know it's this bush. I mean, based on the directional audio, it's this bush. I don't know. There's some gimmick to seeing him or interacting with him. And whatever it is, I don't have it. It's probably like faith or one of those levels that I probably have to have a certain level of, and I just don't have it. What's this thing? Use bird's eye telescope. You can use the bird's eye telescopes found in various areas to get a bird's eye view of the terrain in the direction that the telescope is facing. Okay. That's pretty cool. Whoa. Holy shit. Okay, I hated that. I hated that. That was so weird. Damn, dude. It gives you like a really sky, like a bird's eye view. I know it sounds stupid. That's exactly what it says. But that is so fucking weird. So it's as if the telescope is positioned in the same spot. It's just directly above me. That's creepy. I didn't expect it to shoot up into the sky like that. You know, I don't have a problem with heights usually, but that was not expected. And so I can zoom in and zoom out. Does it show actual enemies? Yeah, it does. Right? Yeah, those are bad guys. Yep, I can see them moving. Okay. I wonder if I can see that asshole bush trying to talk to me. No, I can't. I can't see him. I mean, it doesn't do anything to help me see him better. I know they're... Yeah. Oh, okay. They're kind of getting close to me, aren't they? Anyway, I'm going to go back the other direction just because it's the way I'd progress the most. But I'm gonna slap these bitches first. I hate the guys with fire. Just because they gently light me ablaze and it's really annoying. Dude, shut up. I can't see you. Stop calling me Cully. I don't know what a Cully is. I feel bad for slaughtering these guys sometimes. Look at him. Look at him running away. It's probably some gimmick in the game, too, that you're not supposed to kill these guys. But, I'm a dick. What do you want me to say? I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, I haven't explored anything this way. What is that? Oh, is that one of those? Oh, I can see it down there. One of those spherical balls. Be wary of strong foe. Really? Where? Bitch, where? This is, what are these called again? A site of something? Aren't you supposed to be able to interact with those? Oh, is it the guy on the horse? Yeah, those guys are pretty strong, truthfully. Is that sphere? That's one of them for the FP, right? I call it Fat Patty. I have no idea what FP stands for. But it's the magic power. Ha 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 ha. You guys didn't see me. Well, you saw me, but you couldn't do anything. Brr! Brr! You're good! You're good! Nice job. I mean, you gave it your all. That's all we could expect of you. Yeah, that spherical thing. I don't need it, I don't think. Let me check and make sure the guy on the horse is far enough. He is not, so let me hide in the bush till I'm ready to take him on. Because they are pretty strong. They're doable, but I just can't run the risk of aggroing some other enemy that I haven't seen yet while dealing with him. Again, I'm not good at the competitive games or the skill level games, so I'm going to be a punk bitch for the majority of it. Apologize. Can you sneak up on these guys? Oh, you can. Cool. Oh, that was an Ash of War? Okay. Holy shit. I just thought it was one of those spheres that replenish your magic or something. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Alright, well, let's do this. Should I get up on my horse? Probably, since that guy's up on his. Alright, come on, my man. What's his name? Torrent, that's his name. I'm sorry. I'm really bad. I have a horrible fucking memory. And like I said, keeping the information straight between the Dark Souls games and Bloodborne and all the different FromSoft games, I just have a really hard time doing that. All right, you gonna... Let's do this, man. No? Okay. I'll come up on you. Aha! Ha-ha! Good day, sir. That was a nice strong swing. God damn it. I hate how fucking... How much reach they have with that gigantic sword. Alright, I'm gonna have to be a little more skilled, which is unfortunate, because like I said, I don't do that very well. Oh, I staggered him a little bit, but I didn't jump on it. Take that. Okay, one more of those will take him down. I'll just take the easy way out. I don't care. Alright. Oh, I feel bad for the horse. I'm sorry, dude. That sucks. $20 says this message says something about butthole. Okay, it doesn't specifically say butthole, but we know what tri-fingers means. That's actually kind of funny, but I'm not going to give you an appraisal for that, man. I'm sorry. Oh, I love swinging at these skulls on the ground. Because I'm so good at aiming. What does this say? Boss ahead? I wouldn't necessarily call him a boss unless you guys have knowledge of another boss. Time for dark. That's also another dynamic I haven't thought of either. There's probably certain times of day that I should be approaching different areas. Oh, I wasn't close enough to do a backstabby. Come on, dude. Just swing at me so I can do the counterattack, huh? Not like that. Not like that. All right, let me get these. No, I didn't want to drink that. I want you to get that. God damn it. I need to get my buttons right. Wrath. Okay, okay. Enemy ahead, but time for rump. All right. Oh! Look, there's two giants and they're pulling something. I even said I was going to go back the other way and then ended up not fucking doing it. Hold on, let me put up a projector screen from my streaming software and see if my system can handle that. It makes it easier for me to see if anybody is chatting, if they send a chat message. Because it kind of displays it up on my main screen and makes things a little bit easier for me. So, all right. See if she can handle this. It doesn't look like I have a ton of drop frames or anything like that yet. So, maybe we're good. Maybe we'll at least be all right. Okay. I have never tried to fight two of these giants at once. So I think for real this time, I've said it a bunch, but I'm going to head back the other direction. Mostly because I'm pretty sure that's the direction I was supposed to go anyway. I think with this game, you can kind of take your pick of which way you want to go, but I'm more familiar with going this way. So I'm going to puss out and go back this way. I haven't really examined up here, though. Dude, shut up. I can't. I really can't see you. I don't know what the gimmick is. Maybe I'll get it figured out. Whoa. You can do a... Oh! Oh! You do a big old pony jump. That in itself was pretty pathetic. Sorry about that. Alright, come on, Torrent. No, I'm not going to pathetically chase after the guy and swing at him. Whoa! Torrent! What happened to Torrent? I guess I'll take this dude on the... Whoa! On foot. Ow! That hurt a little bit. Alright, I'll do a drinky. That was actually a little bit easier than me trying to chase him around on a fucking horse. I wonder why... Oh, I can have him back now. Huh. I wonder why he got taken away. Did he die? Like, I know that Torrent can get hurt, right? And when he gets hurt and his health gets depleted, does he just disappear like that? I don't know. Alright. I wanted to recharge my flasks. I did. So now I'll go this way. One thing I found pretty funny to do, and I'll probably do it again, is to go through the castle gate up here, get the fucking giant to chase after me, pull him out here, and use him as an assistant to killing the other soldiers that are around. I find that kind of funny, so I'm probably going to do that. Let me rest at this side of grace just in case I die. Then it'll bring me back here. All right, let's do this. Hey, buddy. Come on down. Let's just get this started, okay? The sooner we get started, the sooner we can get it finished. Huh? Let's do it. Get out my fucking flail. You can do some pretty decent damage with the flail. I think that's what this thing is called, right? I always get the flail and the mace confused. Oh, you didn't like that shit, did you? Oh, buddy. Some big ones. Oh, god damn. I caked them up. He's already at half health. I know. That wasn't nice of me. Come on. I need your help, though. Come on. I need your assistance. Here, let's go get this guy. Oh, damn it. I knew he was going to do that, but I thought I had an extra second. Yeah, blow your horn. I need everybody's help. Come on. Stop backing away. Come here. Come on. Come on. The whole army's chasing me now. Oh, God. Don't get me facing this way. Oh, you hit the wall. Man, you're just really having a bad example at this particular time. Ow. Huh? Huh? I'm just doing some random jumping here because was a few guys still behind me and I didn't have eyes on them yet, so better safe than sorry. Oh, you guys are doing great. Hold on, you guys down here, stick with me now, okay? I don't want you guys, ow! I don't want everybody running away. Thank you. Ow. Nope. Nope, sir. Oh. I specifically like it when that stronger knight gets his ass cheeks clapped by this giant. I think a lot of people appreciate that. Watching him get dominated by the beast. Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, you got lucky on that one, my guy. Not as lucky on that one. Yeah, I want him to focus on taking this guy out first. Or I'll do it, I don't care. Alright, either way. Don't yell at me. You're the sissy that's backing away. Let's keep that in mind. Oh, buddy. Oop. I do find it funny that even after you aggro all of the soldiers in this fucking area, some of them just like slowly back away and go back to their original positions. Like, I'm not fucking around with this whole situation. This guy's crazy. Not only is this dude crazy and trying to take us all on at once, he also, there's a giant beast out here and I don't want to fuck with him. Probably a smart move. Oh, you can break my guard, but you will not break my spirit. How do you even function? You have no innards left. I mean, you do, but it looks like they've been smushed. How are they still functional? Oh. Yeah, I was hoping to bring you down, but that's okay. Oh. Oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I got lucky on that one. Sure did. Shouldn't have gotten lucky. Oh, stop. You're being a child. Yeah. You'll break my guard, but you won't break my spirit. I'll say it over and over. Woo! Get one as he's passing through. Taint shot. I love doing that whenever he reaches back like he's going to put the sword in the ground so very hard, and he does. But if you just run directly in between his legs at that moment, he doesn't know exactly where to swing. All right, that was a couple errant shots on my part. Huh. All right, he's dead. And that's kind of a good example, too, of how I take on some of these asshats is I'm exceptionally cautious. So, by all rights, I could have killed him quicker, but I didn't necessarily want to do that. And this is what I mean. I rest at this side of grace, okay, because and even though it does recharge and reset this guy, I want my flasks to be full as I proceed through here. I know that there's another side of grace kind of at the top of the hill a little ways. It's pretty close. But I want to successfully beat this guy without having to utilize a flask of Crimson Tears. And I do have that urgent heal that, you know, doesn't heal me nearly as much, but I can utilize it as a means of healing. And that previous interaction, I ended up using drinking from the flask, and I shouldn't have done that. So it's just a way for me to like hone my skill, if you want to call it that. What limited skill I can claim to have for the game, just because it comes because of repetition like this. And like I spent some time practicing my dual wielding instead of using a shield as a defensive mechanism. I just did the dual wield thing and fought this same guy trying to time out my dodging. I'm still not great at it, but it still was effective and helpful at making me learn proper timing. And it reminds me more of what Bloodborne was, because Bloodborne, even though you could be like slightly defensive, it was mostly all offense, and the only defensive weapon you had really was trying to stagger your opponent and catch them off guard by using your blunderbuss or whatever rifle you had. And it was mostly about dodging and timing. That's why I've focused a lot on stamina and making sure that I have lots and lots of stamina, because I hate being in a situation where I need to dive and I can't because I'm out of stamina. So I always forget about it. Oh, come on. Okay, urgent heals. I'm going to use urgent heals. Come on, one more. Give me one more. Oh, I got the shield out just in time. Die! Die! Okay, there we go. That was effective. I didn't have to use any of the flask. I just used my urgent heal. Now we're good to proceed. See? Isn't that bad? And I won't do that at all times. Like I said, this has just been the main area that I did repetitiously as a means to level up without having to venture into some sort of unknown territory or whatever. Oh, God, I forgot about this asshole. Dive. Keep diving. Okay, I'll get behind here so I can deal with this guy. Alright. Make sure nobody's sneaking up behind me. Come on, man. Come back here. There you go. Face me like a man. Huh? Okay. I love that fucking sound they make when they die. Oh. Tell your sister to stop shooting. All right. Tell the creepy guy to stop creeping. Eat a dick. Have a good day. All right. Let me check my phone real quick. I think I got a text message. I did, but it's not important. So, excuse me. Jesus. I really need to uninstall some apps, delete some accounts. I need to get rid of some of the shit that I'm constantly bombarded with. I get to the point where I have so many damn notifications that come through on my phone that I just want to silence it. And then I end up missing something important, and I don't want to do that. But does anybody else ever get that? Or just get so overwhelming with constant notifications and shit? And rightfully so, I could go through and, you know, eliminate those, silence those. But in a big way, it just ends up being a nuisance, man. More than helpful, it becomes more bothering in my mind. Okay, where's that guy? Oh, there he is. All right. Best approach, if memory serves. Hopefully he doesn't pull out his little horn immediately. All right, buddy. I'm going to pass to this next bush, okay? And I want you to pull out your sword and then put your sword away. Don't pull out your little blowhorn, okay? Promise? Good. He didn't even do anything. All right. Ha! Huh? All right. Who's coming first? Look at these motherfuckers. Look at them. Look at them. They're like, huh? What happened? I've done that a few times, but I've never seen them do that. I guess it was nothing. It's like, no, dude, I literally sprinted out, murdered your boy, and then backed away as if I was going to engage you in combat, and you never came at me. Wait, does he? Oh my god, dude, you've got to be kidding me. Nope, I'm not here. I'm not here. I'm not here. I'm not here. Tell me he goes away. No. Damn it, dude. He was so close to just going back to his post. That would have been incredible. Nope, I'm not here. I'm not here. There ain't nobody here. Go away. Go away. Look, yeah, come investigate. That's fine. I'm not here. Ain't nobody here. Nothing even happened. Oh my god, dude. I fucking love it. I love that shit. I've seen this game do some silly shit in the time that I've played it, but never quite like that. Is there one more? I was thinking there was one more. Maybe not. Okay. I'll keep eyes on my back though, just in case they do sneak up on me. Anybody? All right. Okay, no cream. All right, so yeah. Phone. What? My phone thinks I said something to it. I did not. I didn't say anything. I promise. Go away. Go away. God. Sorry. I've got two devices here. One is mainly just for playing background music, which... There it is. No, I don't want you doing that. Go away. Hold this up. Yeah, that's all I want you to do. Beautiful. Okay. Take that down a little bit. So, yes. My previous experience rolling through here was immediately once I got up to the top here, I started venturing this direction and, you know, kind of just checking out what was going on. Got to like a swampy area over here. You know, was able to take out the smaller subservient creatures pretty easy, but the large one was just absolutely... I noped the fuck out because I had no intention of trying to fight it. Every bit of damage I tried to deal to it just did not make an impact very much on their health. So I just ran away and then kind of proceeded down the path, which I think, again, there's probably not any real set path that you have to go on. But that was just kind of the way that I had started off. So I'm going to go back that way. I'm also going to go back to the area where there were several giants. Because, again, if those dudes reset each time that you... Oh, god damn it, I forgot about these guys. I love how they fucking fall from the sky, too. That's impressive. Absolute dicks. Alright, alright. Yeah, yeah. You guys are super dangerous in a pack, for real. Alright, come on. Anyway. Yeah, so if those guys, what are they called? Giants, I guess. If the giants regenerate every time you sit at one of the sites of grace, then what's to stop somebody from just going over there, beating the shit out of the giants over and over, you know? And I guess that's kind of the beauty of it, right? And I'm sure they've thought about it, and it's part of what you can utilize as a means to level up continuously, is just going to these same areas. I'm going to sit here just so it saves my progress. But yeah, man, you can just continue to do that, which I think is awesome. I think that's awesome. What do I want to level up? I had thought about... See, these are kind of funny to me. Okay, I'm seeing a difference now. But it was like at a certain point, whenever you would see the kind of increase that each subsequent level in each subsequent category would give you. Earlier on, it was like it wouldn't reflect any changes in any of the categories, and that to me was like, well, why the fuck would I waste the point on that category? But I probably, let's see, what is mine for? Fat patty, and that's for health patties. I am gonna go. I don't like intelligence and arcane being under 10. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, just because, again, I'd like to at least get those to 10. I don't think I've... Sorry, let me sit back down here and see. I don't think I've got any of the required stuff to not level up, increase my flasks, but I'm going to check. Okay. Okay. Just wanted to check. I can't ever... Oh, I've got Ashes of War, too. Sorry, one more time. I forgot I got that Ashes of War. And see if there's something I can... Can you affix them to the shields? You can, right? I mean, it's giving me that option. That one's got one. That one's got one. Oh, my short sword doesn't have one, though. What was... Determination? It kind of reminds me of Undertale. Like, something fills you with determination. It seemed like it said that every time you save. All right, so what's the deal here? What does this do? It's, does it give you a description? Detailed view. What? Is it just for scaling? I don't know if this is beneficial, but... Let's go with quality. I don't fucking know, man. I have no idea. I have no idea which one's better. Oh, wow. I've got all this extra shit, too. Jesus, I need to stash those or something. This great sword also I probably should utilize a little bit more often than I have. I just have not. Because I can't decide what I like better. I'm really enjoying the smaller swords, not the great swords like this, the broadsword. I like being able to do damage quickly. And it works really well when I dual wield with a sword. Because they work together, right? They work in unison, which is awesome. That is one thing that I want to do as well in terms of carrying equipment on me. I want to be able to carry my crossbow because I, came across a heavy crossbow, which I don't care, man. I don't care if it's a heavy crossbow, a light crossbow, or a bow and arrow. I need ranged projectiles other than daggers and the throwing knives and stuff like that. Because, they're more effective, but you do need a ranged weapon of some sort, at least to draw in enemies one at a time from a distance. And I want to be able to equip it and carry it with me without being overly encumbered to where I fucking flop around each time I try to dive, So I need to increase my endurance, I think, that allows me to carry more items at once, and I can't do that right now. Let me put away some of this bullshit that I don't need, that I'm carrying so many of. I need to sell those, honestly. I've got 2 of these. Okay. And I think, yeah, this heavy crossbow, man. It's just the first ranged weapon that I came across. I haven't come across a bow and arrow or any of that stuff. You could probably make it, as far as I know. I'm also carrying 2 of these. I don't want 2 of them. Ah, that's right. I came across this heater shield as well, which is a medium. I have +1 to my brass shield. 88 plus 9. Sorry, I'm just kind of comparing statistics. Yeah, I got that Beast Crest heater shield. And, of course, since the brass shield is +1, it's still better. Let me put these away because I don't need those. I'm never going to wear that, if I'm honest. And I don't need that many. What is that? Yeah, what's up with these talismans? Do you have to equip them or use them or like... I've got these talismans and, like this. Increases bow effective range. Do I have to carry that in like my offhand like I do my other stuff? Like what's that thing called that I heal with? This guy. It's a finger seal? Is that what that thing's called? Really? Okay. Well, let me get out of here. Wait, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about the talismans and shit like that yet. Oh, okay, so I equip it here. God, I'm a fucking idiot. That's what I mean. I get these things, I don't even pay much attention to them. Because, like, I'm so into the game and having a good time that I don't even bother. Boost fire damage negation. Okay. Enhances stamina reducing attacks against blockers. Enhances stamina reducing attacks against blockers. That's What? Okay, so if somebody's trying to block my attack, is that what they mean against blockers? And if it enhances stamina reducing, so it minimizes stamina reduction when being blocked, I think would be a better way of putting that or phrasing it, right? I'm not even going to bother because as soon as I equip one of these, I'm going to be flopping around like a dumb shit. So I'm not even going to mess with that right now. But yes, I want to be able to equip. I don't even mind putting down the flail. You know, if I swap it for the crossbow, like I'm Gucci, right? That's what I'd want to do. But I'm encumbered now. I'm not like crazy encumbered, but I'm encumbered. And I fucking hate that. So that's my main goal right now. And I should have used those, the mana or whatever the fuck they're called on more endurance just now. But you live and you learn, okay? I could swap out my Knight Gauntlets and Greaves probably for my original equipment, and that would take my load down a little bit, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that right now. I like the physical block, the physical damage mitigation from them more than I want the crossbow. Does that make sense? And again, all it does is promote the idea that I need to grind a little bit more in order to get my endurance up to the level I want it to be at. So to me, that's a positive. It can be frustrating, but it's part of the game, you know? All right, who wants to die first? Okay. Got you both on that one. That's a damn shame. Oh, come on. Gimme. What, you don't want to continue to shoot me with crossbow bolts? Come on, man. That would have been the bravest way to handle it. That would have been the tough guy's way to handle it. You didn't handle that well. That's a shame. Okay. Let me check this map again. Because I think it was, yeah, down in this region where I found the... Whoa. Had a little flash on screen there. Yeah, because I got up here, right? And then immediately ventured off the trail. And went off my own way. And was like, okay, I don't want to proceed. Because, you know, this is probably the way the game wants you to go. Oh, I hear the jangling. Are there a bunch of enemies up there, though? There are, huh? I wouldn't say a bunch, but there are a few. Is that more Ashes of War? Let me do this. What's this note over here for? Anything significant? Try target lock. Thank you. Not you. Did I just get shot at? Oh no, it's just shit blowing. Okay. Look. There's a guy with the blowy horn right there. What are the odds that I can ambush him? There's a rock. But I think I can do it. Let's do it. Got him. Come on. Hit me with your fucking thing. Thanks. Get me locked into that animation so I'm immune from crossbow bolts. Shield. Oh, you got lucky. That was the perfectly worst timing for me. Huh? Get me locked in. Thank you. Did you put your crossbow bolt away? Where you at? There you are. Right? Yeah, you're the one shooting at me. Okay, you're dead. I'm appreciating this a lot. Oh, I was too far away. I should have known better. That's okay. I am quite surprised that I didn't run into these assholes the first time I came up here to the top of the hill. I must have stopped just perfectly in time and ventured off of the trail before running into these guys. Which is funny in its own right, because like I said, I was right at the top of this hill and then was like, nah, I'm going to go this way, and just ventured to the right. I'm looking for other baddies that might be up here that I don't see. I'm going to go after the asshole with a torch if I can. Is that a creature? Let's see if he moves. I think that's a guy lying in wait for ambush. Excuse me. I'm quite certain that's a guy lying in wait for ambush. Oh, it's not locking on him anymore. That's all right. We'll find him. All right. Going in. There's nobody in here. Maybe that was a creature. I guess that had to have been, huh? Otherwise, I would have tripped over the dude. Oh, haha, there's a guy back there. Oh, he's got the fucking... Is he trying to shoot a giant crossbow bolt? Let's see if I can sneakeroo. Damn it, I was trying to, you know, do the thing and it didn't work. Lock me in! I love getting locked into that animation so these assholes can't hurt me. Oh, how did you break my guard, man? I mean, I know that was a heavy attack, but I thought I had more stamina than that. Yeah, okay. I must have been low on stamina. I gotta remember to put my shield down every so often. Visions of Rump. Why does it say that? You guys are stupid, man. All right. Look at these guys. Let me work backwards, right? Is there anybody hidden? I'm sure there is. Okay. Not seeing them yet. Let's go after this dude first. Love it. Come on. Come on. Come up this way so you don't aggro those other guys. Just for my benefit, okay? Be a pal. Oh, game's glitching. She's thinking about it super hard for a minute. There we go. Come on. I know you hide behind your shield just like I do. I'm not trying to give you too much shit for it, but Jesus. Love it. Okay. Who's next? I'm just quietly trying to make sure nobody sneaks up on me. Yeah. Oh, you're a dude with a big O sword, huh? Whoa, damn. He still almost slagged me with it. Huh? Oh, okay. You're not super strong. You just got a big ass sword. Got it. What's going on with this? Oh, it's just somebody put a message on top of that. You guys work way too hard to get this shit done. I mean, honestly. It's impressive. But you work way too hard to find silly places to put the messages. Alright, I'm doing some sneaky just in case I've overlooked somebody. Think I'm good. I mean, whoa, that guy scared the shit out of me. Wild strikes? I wonder if that one's any good. All right. So, yes, I understand that that's probably the direction I need to be going, right? I killed everybody leading the entrance, but I do want to show you what I meant. I thought it was so funny whenever I came this direction. This is exactly where I went off the trail yesterday. Because, you know, I just wanted to see what's going on over here. Looking for secrets. But the part that I found the fucking funniest was how many people died. How many blood stains are over here because assholes jumped off the edge of the bridge. Either just trying to be funny or because they actually thought they could ride Torrent down and be safe. And I know that there are probably some circumstances where that's true. Right? I forgot about these guys. So yeah, I'm sure Torrent probably negates a little bit of fall damage when you're riding on him. But look at these. Look at these fucking blood stains, man. It is so funny how many people... Because in my mind, it's like this. You come over here, right? You see blood stains. And then a sane person would consider, okay, well, I probably shouldn't jump off of this because obviously other people have died trying. But no. They take that as a challenge and assume that, no. They probably just weren't doing it right. So I really enjoyed watching these people jump off the fucking edge, right? Again, I imagine that you probably could do it successfully in certain spots. But that gave me a good chuckle. And I just noticed there's some of these assholes hanging from underneath the bridge here, huh? Alright. Let me give you something to suck on real quick. Come on down. Wow, are you okay, buddy? Jesus, that fucked you up way more than you expected, huh? There you go. Now you finally got off the ground. Come on. Oh, wow. One swing from the flail. I heard one of those big guys just yelling. It scared the shit out of me. Yeah. You got lucky. I was too slow on that swing. Oh, that was unfortunate. But yes, I found it exceptionally fucking hilarious how many people died at the hands of this cliff. Alright. I do want to go down here and fuck up some more of these giants for some good old-fashioned fun. I think I did, do the same thing that these people did, but I didn't ride Torrent off the edge. I just found the safest place to descend and jumped off myself. Observant, right? You see over here how there's a fucking path that leads down. It's amazing. And you actually don't have to take any damage at all. Now, I'm sitting here talking shit. Oh god, I hate killing this guy. I love owls. I'm sorry. But I need your egg. I'm not sure for what, but I imagine it's important. So yeah, I'm sitting here talking shit. And it probably was just like a bunch of guys that were like, dude, I bet you $20 that I can survive a fall. And so several of them tried. It probably wasn't like a serious occurrence where they're all like, oh yeah, we'll do it. And, you see all these blood stains and take it as a fucking challenge that no, they're just not doing it right. I'm sure it was something completely different than that. It was probably a group of friends who all tried to do it themselves. I know that over here I was introduced to the idea of PvP combat, but I didn't really explore if there was anything important around here. It doesn't look like it. I think it's mainly just a placeholder to say, hey, this is kind of like a Coliseum-esque type place where battle may have been done in the past. I don't know. It's all fantasy babble to me. I try to follow the story of it, but like all the games, right? The Souls games or Bloodborne, even these things. What the fuck are these, you know? I try to understand the story because I like lore. I think lore really can enhance a game and make it far more interesting, right? When there's a good story behind it. Oh yeah, sorry. I was just checking my phone again and was reminded of that leaked document from the Supreme Court, which is unacceptable. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're ultra conservative and you think, oh fuck, that abortion is wrong and bad and all the words. But I'm sorry, we don't have a right to tell a woman what she should and should not do with her body. Pregnancy itself is a health condition. And it's really hard on the body to give birth. And it is, in a certain way, risking the woman's life just to require her to give birth. And we should not be allowed to force that onto anybody. It's a huge step backward. Now, I read an article last night that mentioned that Roe v. Wade and the assertions that the Supreme Court made on the original hearing or their original vote kind of overstepped the boundaries of the law, right? And essentially, I think it's Justice Alito was the one who was writing the leaked document. And essentially, he keeps spouting about how the original verdict was wrong and incorrect and it overstepped bounds and blah, 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 and just all this other shit. And while that might be from a legal precedent, it's still morally and ethically the right thing to do, right? So, the problem that I have with it is, A, like I mentioned, pregnancy in itself is a health condition, and it risks the life of the mother, not only to carry the child for 9 months, but if there are any complications, and then, you know, even if it's smooth, when it comes to giving birth to the child, you have no idea what's going to go wrong. So we shouldn't be allowed to force that upon any woman or any person that wants to give birth. And people will make the argument, well, you know, it's just saying that it's not federally protected. Well, it should be, because even before this Supreme Court verdict is announced, this leaked document is coming out, and you already have states that are conservative that are passing laws banning abortion, even before the Supreme Court officially renders their verdict on the matter. And already on Twitter, you've got conservatives who are just trying to rub it in the face of people who are pro-choice, like it's some sort of victory, you know, like it's some sort of debate or argument that they've won, and the Supreme Court backs up their decision. And it's pathetic. I'm sorry. And let's put it this way. If men were the ones who biologically had to carry the child, and men were the ones who had to give birth to the child, this wouldn't even be a debate, man. It would be federally protected. It will have always been federally protected. It wouldn't even be a fucking debate. But it's the fact that it's females that are the ones who are having to endure childbirth that essentially the Supreme Court and the states themselves, the leadership of these conservative states, are saying, well, you're just going to have to deal with it. Like, in what world is that fair for the woman or anybody that has to give birth to the child? It's just, I'm sorry, I don't agree with it. While the legal precedent might have been flawed, or the legal argument in the original Roe v. Wade and the other important court hearing, I can't remember the title of it. If the legal precedent was incorrect, that's fine. Let's let's discuss the appropriate way to go about protecting the right to a woman's choice. Like, if we have to write new legislation, okay, great. If we, I think the big argument was that in the original hearing of Roe v. Wade, some of the justices were saying it's a constitutional right or something like that, and Alito and the other conservative justices are essentially saying that no, that's not true. It's not a constitutionally protected right, which it may not be, and that's fine. But it needs to be federally protected, in my opinion. I can't fathom why we would think it's appropriate to require a woman to give birth, especially under circumstances of like rape and incest and all these inappropriate means that a woman can conceive a child. But to say, nope, sorry. And the 15-week limit, is that what it is? Like 15 weeks? You can't have an abortion after 15 weeks? Dude, you don't even know you're pregnant by that time, in most cases, right? That's just... And it's terrifying. Because, like I said, the legal arguments can be made against it. That's fine. I'm not arguing that because I'm not a legal expert. But my contention with it is whatever we need to do to make it legit, that needs to happen. And whatever we have to do to ensure that they're federally protected, that needs to happen as well. Hold on just a second. I'm getting a call from the great beyond. Okay, I got McDonald's. Hot diggity damn. So, that being said, though, let me turn on some of the lights in here. I tried doing it, excuse me, with the button downstairs, but it didn't work. I think it's because I switched my router. I don't want that one on. Bop. 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 There we go. That's better. All right. So while I eat, I'm going to get out of the game. We'll come back into it. Every time I come to this screen, dude, I keep forgetting that I named my character Butt Truckin', and I have no idea why, other than the fact that it's funny. So, yeah, let's watch some videos. We might watch some Mike from PA in Central Committee if he's streaming. Because, like I was just talking about, that leaked document from the Supreme Court is groundbreaking, and it really gives the perception that they are going to repeal Roe v. Wade. So, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of people online that are running their mouths, a lot of conservatives that are using this as a own the libs moment. And that, what, dude? Just because I get food doesn't mean that you have the right to it. Anyway, they're using it as a own the libs type moment, and it's completely inappropriate. Hold on, let me switch to a different scene here. I got this weird capture thing going on around the side, but ugh, she's struggle bussing. I don't know why she's struggling all of a sudden. You'd think it wouldn't have a problem, especially since I got out of the game. You know what I mean? The game is usually the part of it that gives it a hard time, but see now it's dropping frames, and that's unbelievable. Okay, I think we're a little bit better there if I just stick to this one. Lucy, stop, dude. Go lay down. God damn it, why do I always have to fucking log in again? And then I gotta go into my authenticator and fucking get the token for it. Okay, apparently it's not gonna search for it properly like it normally does. There he is.
You ever see anybody saying, I dissent? I love notorious RBG. She wrote, I dissent. I dissent is what losers do. I dissent means you lost, and your words have no legal weight. It is so ordered, is what happens when you win. That's what the Warren Court did. I'm tired of I dissent. I want to make some orders. And if the Democrats don't fucking get their shit together, there's going to be a lot more orders coming from Handmaid's Tale in Chief, Amy Coney Barrett. Fucking losers. She'd rather go on some weird... Okay, I'm not posting... What the fuck are you posting? Bullshit. I'm in the mind that conservatives were saying the overturning of Roe v. Wade until after they seize power in 2022 or 2024. They don't inadvertently galvanize, catalyze, or spur
This
Democrats.
bombshell, one
I
word.
think it got leaked. They were worried that they would wait until after the fucking election to drop a decision.
Years that has built up to this moment in which a sustained attack on reproductive rights in this country by the political forces that lost in Roe and then again in Casey, to gut it, to whittle it away, to try to like sort of eviscerate it, everything but overturn that.
What
this
they did
is
to the
moment is
ACA.
here. The wolf is at the door and they are going to overturn Roe.
The sky has fallen.
That's the message of
That
this.
is true.
And again, whoever leaked this, and I have zero insight. I'm just responding in real time to this. Aaron, to your point, and again, this is going to drive our news, I think, quite a bit in the aftermath of it. But it doesn't. This is the beginning of something, and not the end, in a million different ways. Both, not that this opinion is law. We don't know that, but there is a lot to wrestle with in the aftermath of this, and hopefully you can come back as we wrestle with it. Erin Carmone, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad that we had you.
Thank you, Chris.
Let's take a look at Biden's statement and see how mad we're supposed to be. Statement by President Biden on reported Supreme Court decision draft. We do not know whether this draft is genuine or whether it reflects the final decision of the court. With that critical caveat, I want to be clear on 3 points about the cases before the Supreme Court. First, my administration argued strongly before the court in defense. Who cares? I don't care. I'm not reading the rest of this paragraph. I don't fucking care. Who cares? Second, shortly after the enactment of the Texas Law SB 8 and other laws restricting women's reproductive rights, I directed my Gender Policy Council
Again,
and the
who
White
cares?
House Counsel's Office to prepare options for an administration response to the continued attack on abortion. I set up a committee?
All you're doing is talking, man. Same thing as always.
Forcing the wife to take interest in politics today.
Lusov, thank you for the tier 1.
It's
Third, if the court does overturn Roe, it will fall on our nation's elected officials at all levels of government to protect a woman's right to choose. It will fall on voters to elect pro-choice officials. I'm not voting for any Democrat. If you don't do it, I'm not voting for any Democrat. I'm leaving my ballot blank. If you don't get it done by November, I'm not voting for you. Period. Done. At the federal level, we will need more pro-choice senators and a pro-choice majority in the House to adopt legislation that codifies Roe, which I will work to pass and sign into law. Incredible. Incredible.
Crazy day.
Has Biden called for the removal of the filibuster yet?
no. He won't. He will not.
Go vote. After the statement, it seems like Biden is doing this as a stunt to try to get more Dems voted in. The Dems are not going to get voted in. I can tell you right now.
No, they are going to be removed in
I'm actually
large
probably
scales.
considering voting for people not voting for people I like. That's how low. I don't think that I could have a lower opinion of Joe Biden. Like, strongly disapprove doesn't even cut it. Basically,
It's
anybody
unreal
who
how
agree with him.
little he's willing to do with his position.
Like, That's how
Like, he
low
could
my
do
opinion
things,
is.
right? He could enact policies and executive orders to stop this from happening.
Unbelievable. They control the House, the Senate, and the White House.
Right.
You're
They
telling me
they
there's
could make the
nothing
laws right now,
Manchin has
right?
that you can't take away? Nothing? He's the chair of the Energy Committee. Why is Joe Manchin the chair of the Energy Committee? Throw him out of everything. I don't give a fuck about a district justice at this point. It doesn't matter.
At Politico.com right now. Just breaking in the last few minutes is this. United States Supreme Court has voted to overturn abortion rights, draft opinion shows. According to an initial draft majority opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, circulated inside the court and obtained by Politico, the Supreme Court has voted to strike down the landmark Roe v. Wade decision. The draft opinion is a full-throated, unflinching repudiation of the 1973 decision, which guaranteed federal constitutional protections of abortion rights, and also a subsequent 1992 decision, Planned Parenthood v. Casey, which largely maintained the right. Alito writes in this draft majority opinion, quote, Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. We hold that Roe and Casey must be overturned. It is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives, which, as Chris was just mentioning,
Not to the people, to the elected representatives, which are
more than
rich
2
white
dozen
men.
states, there are what are called trigger laws, which would immediately render abortion a crime, render it illegal immediately upon the Supreme Court
First-degree
issuing such a
felony in
ruling.
Texas.
As Josh Gerstein reports,
A
along with
first-degree
colleagues
felony in
Politico
Texas?
tonight, quote, the immediate impact of the ruling would be to end a half-century guarantee of federal constitutional protection of abortion rights. It would allow each state to decide whether to restrict or ban abortion. It is unclear if there have been subsequent changes to the draft. This draft ruling that has been obtained and published by Politico tonight was reportedly drafted in February. Politico received a copy of the draft opinion, quote, from a person familiar with the court's proceedings in the Mississippi case, the abortion case, along with other details supporting the authenticity of the document. The draft opinion runs 98 pages. The document is replete with citations to previous court decisions, books, and authorities, and includes 118 footnotes. The appearances and timing of this draft are consistent with court practice.
Again, I can't argue the legal facets of it because I'm not a lawyer.
Secrecy and tradition around its deliberation.
But the thought goes through my head, if this is something we've established, and it's been established for 50 years, 50 plus years,
Legal reporters and legal political
why are we going backwards? And anybody who tunes into the stream has heard me bitch about this before.
tonight on such short notice. I realized that you didn't know 4 minutes ago that you were going
As a society, you always want to progress. You always want to advance. You always want to get better. And I guess it's all subjective, right? It's all based on opinion.
sourcing here, but I want to press
And there are a lot of people who think that allowing a woman to choose what to do with her own body and whether to give birth to a child, a lot of people believe that being pro-choice is our society regressing and moving backwards. But that's not true, man. That's individual rights.
Y'all kinda. Not sure how this will work, but any chance
And
when ours take power, they
a woman being able to choose what she does and does not do with her own body, I think is paramount. Like I mentioned before, if our foster care system, if our orphanages were in tip-top shape and were well-funded and there weren't individuals preying on children and using them as a means to make easy money, I would be more confident in the idea of the foster care system, right? I still don't think it's right to force a woman to give birth to a child, but a lot of people are saying, well, you know, it's illegal to kill a child, they're innocent and blah, blah, blah. But in a lot of cases, if a mother gives birth to a child and can't afford the child or is not of a emotional, mental maturity level to care for that child in an appropriate manner, giving that child up and introducing them into the foster care system is going to cause far more damage to that child mentally and emotionally than it would be to just end the pregnancy.
We live in a disconnected
It just, this is moving backwards, and that's the biggest problem, is because this has been solidified as a constitutionally protected law for a good long while now, and it's getting taken away.
First birthday
It's
interruption.
unreal. Unreal.
Okay, thanks for that. Red Wine Terrorist, thanks to the 10 tier ones. I'm sure we'll get more into why it's my birthday and you should give me money in a bit, but
Yeah, one of the highest paid political streamers. Give him money, please.
considered voting harder? Yeah.
It's not a final opinion, it's a draft opinion. It was circulated in the court as a first draft by Justice Alito in February, dated February 10th. So it is possible there have been some changes since then, but it's our best understanding.
And some of the copium that they were writing as part of this article, the Politico article, was, you know, there's still time for them to change their minds before it actually gets codified. And while that's true, this is pretty damning, man. If this article has been written since February, they've had a couple months to make alterations to it. So it seems to be the majority opinion, you know, as it's titled.
On
That's
Justice
really
Alito's
incredible.
reported side here, and the only ambiguity, the only question is whether or not Justice Roberts would make it a 6-3 decision or a 5-4 decision if he chose to side with the more liberal members of the court. Do you have any, what can you tell us about your reporting in terms of the numbers here, in terms of how the two sides align and whether that may still be a matter with some fluidity?
Well,
Sorry.
it's our understanding, from a person familiar with the proceedings, that Justice Alito believes and that the court has.
So here's the thing, like, obviously it's unpopular to overturn Roe v. Wade. I'm not saying it's not unpopular, but Americans don't know how to turn their anger into effective action. So, like, you can disagree with it all you want, but eventually the dislike of the decision will fade. And, you know, you'll go through life and, you know, how many times are you truly, you know, affected by this? A few times in your life, max. Many women are beyond childbearing years. You know, men are half the population. You have a ton of conservatives, and a lot of people are just it's going to become something that slips out of their mind. It's just, you know, unless you use the anger that exists now, people are not going to get more angry about this. You have to use the anger now while you have it, while it has everyone's attention, or it's going to slip through your fingers. You're not going to be able to sustain people's anger for months on end. It's just not real.
And he's right.
Do that unless
People will just get used to it over time and deal with it. And there are going to be like mass exodus type situations, in my opinion, where people who, well, and I say that, but that's probably not true either. Because unless something has a direct, dramatic impact, negative impact on a person's life, they will not uproot themselves. Because it's much easier to just say, get used to the idea of not being able to have an abortion whenever you want, than to say, quit your job, move your entire family, if you have a family, to a different state, find a new job in that new state, find a home in that new state. You know what I mean? It's just, people aren't going to put forth that level of effort to relocate just because of a law like this. Now, some people who devoutly believe in the woman's right to choose might do so, but it's going to be a lot of words. That's all it is. It's going to be a ton of words. It's going to be, this isn't right and they shouldn't do that, and that's all it'll be. It won't be any actionable change. I mean, do I want to disagree with Mike and say no? They'll hold on to this anger for a good long while, and they'll vote to reflect their values. That's not going to happen. He's right. People aren't going to hold on to that anger continuously and then make it the primary voter issue come November of 2024, you know. Because right now, the theory is that you've got progressives, right, or Democrats at least, that are the majority in all three branches. You know what I'm saying? Or all three major positions. You got president, and they supposedly have the majority in Congress. Very slim majority. And what has gotten done? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the people that ended up voting for Biden have buyer's remorse because of this lack of positive change. And the same thing applies here. If he allows this to go through without making substantial efforts to prevent it, I don't even know what's within his scope of capability. But when you control Congress, even by a slim majority, and you control the presidency, you should be able to create legislation that prevents this from happening. And they're not doing it. They're not going to do it. It just, like Mike was reading from that script or that announcement from the president, all it is more solicitation for why you should continue to vote Democrat in the next election. I'm sorry you want us to continue to vote Democrat when you guys, A, don't do anything positive and promote positive change, or B, stop bad things from happening. So why would we want to allow that to happen again? Now, Trump's a psycho, and I will forever say that. He's a psycho and, like, the worst president ever. But it's like if he said something was going to get done, he would do it. And whether or not I agreed with it, he still held to his promises for the most part. Again, he's still a sack of shit. I mean, an immense sack of shit. But it's not good marketing from a Democrat perspective to say, hey, you know what? I know things have gotten worse and worse since my election, but this is proof positive you should continue to vote Democrat in the upcoming elections. Bitch, why? Like, give me one reason or one thing that you guys have done positively. You can't even stop Roe v. Wade from being overturned. Give me a break.
Republicans, not us. We can save our freedoms, but it's November, stupid. I'm sorry, Chad. I tweeted without even thinking. I tweeted without even thinking.
I didn't even pay attention to what his response was.
Is real.
I'm sure the leak is real. Absolutely, it's real.
Chief Justice Roberts in a statement says Politico document is real, but doesn't represent final decision of the court. He's opening a leak investigation.
I mean, was anybody really banking on that being like the legitimate copium? That, well, it's probably fake. Bitch, please.
Josh, in terms of the substance of this opinion as written, again, this draft majority opinion, and with the caveat that this is a historically unprecedented leak of what appears to be a draft majority opinion from the court before any ruling is issued, with the caveat that you just described in terms of whether or not this may go through additional changes, even potentially substantial changes, before we see the ruling from the court.
No, there's not going to be any substantial changes. Let it go.
When you look at what Justice
It is what it is.
Here, how does this comport with expectations in
Just
this case?
start dealing with it. That's the takeaway, in my opinion. Start dealing with it. Let's stop trying to cope with it. It's saying whether or not it's real or that it might change before X date. Let's start doing change. Let's start making things happen rather than just debating about, well, whose fault is it? I think it's pretty obvious whose fault it is. It's everybody, all the above. You've got conservatives who have promoted this as a hot button issue for years and years and decades, which is fine. They're allowed to hold their opinion about this the same way that, people who are pro-choice are allowed to hold their opinions about it.
It's definitely a swing for the fences draft majority
But
opinion.
the Democrats haven't stopped it from happening. They haven't done anything to try to prove that it's a belief that they hold dear. Now, conservatives have. They've made it one of their top three, I would say, issues, political issues.
Really, than Chief Justice Roberts. And another reason to think that this may have full support from all the Republican appointed justices except the chief is if you go through the opinion, you'll find
Go away, dude. There's food. Go eat.
Views that
Go eat.
other members of the court have stated on previous occasions. There are parts of this.
MSNBC wondering why GOPers aren't acting like Democrats over power. Well, that's the thing. Is if you and I can just tell you right now that if your decision is to rally around the Democrats right now, you are a dupe. You're a fool. You're a moron.
Yeah, why would you, man? I mean, they've proved that they're not willing to do anything to stop bad things from occurring. And they will not do anything to improve conditions either. So why would you rally around them? It just doesn't make any sense.
Revolt against them because you're not going to convince a Republican to change.
No, you're not.
And a Democrat should be forced to do something immediately.
Correct.
And this is a...
But they won't. That's the problem.
This is a shit or get off the pot moment. If a Democrat doesn't want to fold on this issue, they should be thrown out of the party. Period. Dot. I feel the same way. If they tried to get rid of gay marriage and there was a Democrat who didn't want to support that, they should be thrown out of the party. That's the... And if you're like, well, we shouldn't do purity testing, then there's no point of having a party. Because it can't accomplish even the most basic things to defend its rights of its own constituents, its own voters. It's useless. It needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. And in any event, the Democrats are going to lose in the midterms. They're going to lose in the midterms. They're going to lose in the midterms. Their time in power is going to end. Almost no matter what they do at this point. Why do I say that? They're about to start jacking interest rates faster than they have in decades. We're going into a recession, folks. People are going to blame Biden. So the Democrats have 6 months to do stuff before they get thrown out on their asses. Maybe the economy recover by 2024, and there might be some sort of shot of defeating Republicans again. But that's not what's going to happen, man. That's not what's going to happen. It's not purity testing, it's ideological testing. Anti-abortion is diametrically opposed to everything the Democrats say they stand for.
This opinion sound a lot like Justice
Well, wasn't it Pelosi's daughter, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, was posting some dumb shit on Twitter last night, too.
In this opinion, that's a word that
And
taken to using
Nancy Pelosi herself has said several times that she's against abortion. Like, but yet she's one of the leaders of the Democratic Party. We just need a new split. I'm sorry. Like, the two-party system has been insane for a long time, right? Like, I think that there are issues that people can differ on that make them diametrically opposed to identifying as a Democrat or a Republican, you know, the way that Mike said. So the fact that we have taken these blanket statements and said, okay, this person is a Democrat and this person is a Republican, when each individual might mostly agree with certain policies with one side or the other, but have various differences on issues, but they still get classified as Democrat or Republican. I don't understand why we don't have 15, 16 different political parties that each ideologically have differences, right? Like if you're Nancy Pelosi and you have mostly progressive ideals or whatever, or liberal ideals, but you fervently disagree with abortion, then you're not a Democrat. You go into some subcategory. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be a two-party system. It's allowed too many assholes into systems, and it's kept too many people out of systems because that might be great for the role, just because they don't identify as one or the other. You know what I mean? So like the progressive movement, like the Squad, they should be a separate political party. Like, they're the progressives. They're not Democrats. I mean, mainly they identify with Democratic policies, but they're far more progressive. They need to be their own separate party, and that will resonate more with the younger crowd. But the reason that we stick to this two-party system is because of the legacy voters, right? The older people they won't vote for somebody unless they identify with one of the two major political parties. So that's the only reason that I feel that they hold on to these definitions of what party they identify with.
Why do liberals never mention Obama-Trump voters? Why do they always mention their beloved Joe Manchin that voted for Brett? And why do they never mention how even if Hillary won, she would have not had the Senate to get lib justices? You know, full glass, you're right. There is definitely a world where Hillary Clinton wins and she doesn't have the Senate, and the Republicans hold open a seat for years until she's defeated in 2020. The odds the Democrats actually took, I mean, many people think like, well, if Hillary won, then Senator Russ Feingold would have won, and Katie McGinty would have won, and so the Democrats would have had the Senate. It may be enough.
Trying to figure out why I've got this capture border that's still displaying around my screen.
Like, that's the
it's annoying the shit out of me.
But there is a world where she won the presidency, and those people narrowly lose.
There we go. That's better.
So
it's annoying the crap out of me, man. It was like it was still trying to capture the screen as if I was still playing the game, even though I've been out of the game for a long time.
Republicans have shown they'd be willing to do it. If they have the power to do something, they do it. If they're allowed to do it, they do it. Wow, I literally started organizing on behalf of Planned Parenthood yesterday. What a hell of a first day at a new job. I mean, I'm glad you're... I mean, it's going to be exciting to be on the front lines, I guess.
This shouldn't be the front line. That's the problem.
To the issue of
There's many other issues that we could make the front line. This shouldn't be one of them, especially one that's been established, what, 50 years?
Itself, right? To be able to be willing
Like,
to
this
say,
is insane, man. I just...
It's not about anything important, don't worry. Tells you a lot
It's
about
unreal, man.
the frame of mind of the frame of mind behind people who would make this kind of a change. Let me just ask you about one last piece of this, Josh. Since we've been on the air, since we received your reporting tonight, since you published, we, on my show, have contacted 4 former clerks for Supreme Court justices, all of whom uniformly told us that the document that you have published tonight appears to be a legitimate work product of the court, meaning it just matches in form and style and texture the kind of product that they as clerks were used to seeing as a draft majority opinion. That highlights in itself, I think, the unique nature of this reporting that you have done and this leak.
What are you, licking his bottom side of his nutsack now? Who cares, dude? Like, let's not stray too far away from the substance of the message here. Yeah, Josh, you're super great, and whatever rat you've got inside the Supreme Court, just make sure you keep feeding them, okay? Because we need to get that information out as quick as possible. So yeah, keep feeding the rat. And that's not me speaking ill of whoever leaked this information. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. And I understand completely why they did it. I mean, let's speak as if they didn't have some sort of financial gain, which I'm sure they did, and was a big component of why they made the decision to leak the document. But we're gonna operate on the side of altruism here and say that the reason they leaked it was because it's such a landmark issue. And I'm going to assume that the person who leaked it severely disagrees with the court's decision and wanted to get the information out as quickly as possible so that people can mobilize against this.
You do see that kind of dialogue.
Which, okay, like, if that was the case, I'm 100% behind that.
This is groundbreaking, and it does.
So in that case, in that respect, that person is in a key position. They will be found out, unfortunately. I'm sure they will be found out. There's just ways of tracking this down that they probably haven't considered. But it was important, and I think it was worth it. You know, if they end up losing their job and getting thrown out on their ass,
How are you doing?
it's worthwhile to get the message out there. But like Mike said, it's not going to change a whole lot, unfortunately. People aren't going to hold on to this anger long enough to... And not only is it holding on to anger long enough to vote, right? But what they've proved as a party is that even when they're in power, they're unwilling to do anything with that power. You know, like the Biden statement was entirely about solicitation and marketing and trying to spin it in a way that would encourage people to continue to vote for Democratic candidates in the future rather than being like, you know what, this is insane. Like, this is an insane decision if this is true, and I'm going to do everything in my power to overturn it and change it and codify women's rights. That's what the entire statement should have been. Not just, well, I started a committee and they're going to look into this and that. No, if you own government, okay, as a political party right now, you have it somehow within your authority to stop this from happening or enacting legislation that will reverse it or solidify the woman's rights. Like, there are avenues I'm sure that you can go through. I'm not a political expert, but this is insane. This is absolutely insane that a bunch of rich white men, essentially, can tell a woman, sorry, you cannot have an abortion. Insane.
As Josh just mentioned, about what's happened during discussions among the justices about what may or may not have gone down in the room behind where the justices sit on the dais. We're also familiar with from court sketches when they sit down in conference to discuss what happens. We have had descriptions of those discussions in the past. We have never, as far as I know, had a written, in this case, 90-plus page draft majority opinion released to the public through a reporter before a ruling was actually issued. We don't know anything about who the source is. Josh, you just heard him speak in his own words about why
it's irrelevant.
And his editors are confident in the sourcing of this.
Yes, we're confident.
It's obviously an earthquake for all these substantive
Let's
reasons.
start to
Doesn't matter in terms of how confident
make sure the Rolling Stone does gather moss. You know what I mean? Like, let's
four different Supreme Court
take the narrative as fact.
I think one of the things, like, I'm pondering this and because some people, you know, they're not understanding. My reaction is, you know, when people are like, I posted a tweet where I said, if your reaction to this is, I'm ready to vote, you're a fucking loser, is because we already did that.
Right.
We already voted.
Exactly. And nothing positive changed. Only negatives.
If you say wait till November, you're letting them off the hook.
Correct.
And furthermore, if you know the current electoral prospects of the Democrats, maybe this will change it.
No.
No. So I don't think it will.
They're not. They're fucked. They're fucked in the midterms.
Or a realist. Until I see the data
pragmatic.
showing that people are swinging toward voting for Democrats, I don't believe it.
It's not happening.
Okay? If you say, oh, just wait till November and we need to elect more people, you're letting them off the hook and you're gambling. You're gambling with the rights. They have the power now. They have the Democrats in office now. All they have to do is go to those people and say, listen, if you don't do it, switch to a Republican. They need to throw these people out. They need to take away every single thing they have. If they switch Republican, good. At least we know who our enemies are. But you can't sit here and just go, well, I guess their rights are taken away. Please vote in 6 months. That's not an acceptable answer. And by the way, any Democrat who supports the filibuster or refuses to vote for this shouldn't be safe on the streets. They should not be able to walk around without being protested lawfully.
That a boy.
I don't think they should be able to have a nice meal without people coming up to them and expressing their First Amendment rights.
It's true.
That's what I think. And if you're not willing, you know, if you're going to try to wait till November, after what we've seen from the American electorate, you are batshit crazy.
Yeah. Nothing's going to change, man.
And if you know of a rally happening near you or a protest, get to it.
Yeah. I think that in a big way, this whole event should charge up the base of progressive people. And I'm not just talking about Democrats. Like, it, to me, outlines the very serious need for a third party or a sub party, right? You know, like the squad, who still identify as Democrats, right? But they are a far more progressive subset of Democrats. And we need to add fuel to that fire and build that subset. Because the two major parties are closer now than ever. Excuse me, of being identical. And like Mike was saying, if a certain party controls government and the opposition is still capable of making your life a living hell by repealing laws or enacting new policies, when you and your political party are in charge of the government, then you're useless to the people. You're not doing anything to promote good, meaningful policy change or prevent bad policy change. You're just a placeholder. So, like Mike said, you get out there and you protest. If you've got people who are elected officials who are voting to repeal Roe v. Wade, or they're out there spouting this biblical bullshit about right to protect, a child prior to birth, like it's just about taking away your ability to make your own decisions. And this is like I said, rich white men who are taking it away from you, taking the right away from females to make a choice about what to do with their own bodies and whether to give birth or not give birth. I'm sorry, it's not your decision. You are a measly little woman and you don't get to choose. We are the men and we get to tell you what you do with your body, regardless of the circumstances. And that's what's unacceptable. That's what needs to be fought against.
Throughout my time in Congress, I've always supported women's access to healthcare. I'm a co-sponsor of the Women's Health Protection Act, and I'll continue working with anyone to protect women's ability to make decisions about their futures. This is a nothing statement. This means fucking nothing. Unless she says, are you adding support of filibuster reform to your must-have for a candidate? Yes. Oh, I thought that goes without saying. That goes without saying. Obviously, I'm supporting John Fetterman in Pennsylvania, who supports women's rights, who is a great progressive candidate. Looks like he's on his path to easily win the nomination. He is one of the few candidates that I would actually proudly vote for who's also going to win. He's probably one of the progressive left's best hope. And the delta between him and Pat Toomey is the largest in the country. So if you want to make the biggest impact on the entire course of the Democratic Party, John Fetterman is probably the best choice right now. Here's what he said.
What we're hearing about the Supreme Court and Roe v. Wade is deeply disappointing.
Let's be clear. The right to an abortion is sacred.
Democrats control the presidency, the House, and the Senate.
It's time for us to act quickly to get rid of the filibuster and to pass the Women's Health Protection Act and finally codify Roe.
Not a baby.
We cannot afford to wait. Send me to Washington, and I'll be that 51st vote to codify Roe into law. Make a donation of any amount today.
Dude,
to help us
if I had it, I'd give it to you, Fett. I promise.
I feel so
What's
bad
up, Noni?
because I'm just so
I miss you too, man. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, man. I like the Democrats.
I was talking about
so
this
terrible.
Supreme Court bullshit. That document that got leaked. You been doing okay?
Exceptions, which I appreciate. What is your position as both a doctor and a senatorial candidate on when life begins? When should we draw the line?
Exactly, thanks for 500 bits.
It's going all right. It's going all right for me. I haven't streamed in several days because I tried playing Elden Ring last week sometime on the stream, and it was messing things up, so I stopped the stream and tried switching around my layout a little bit so it wasn't as taxing on the computer. And then I started applying for another job and got excited about it, and so I've been spending a lot of time getting paperwork and crap like that done and lined up and potentially getting that job going. And then after I spent some time optimizing my stream layout and stuff, I ended up just playing Elden Ring kind of by myself for a few days without streaming. And I was playing it a little bit ago. I just got done eating lunch, and I'll probably get back to streaming it here shortly. But the stream was going all right. I was playing Elden Ring for a little bit, showing off my lack of skills, but you know, I'm enjoying the game so far. But yeah, other than that, things are okay. Are you doing all right?
No, thanks for the 14 months. Yeah, it's my birthday. I'm an old man now. I'm old.
He's probably my age.
The fact that Roe v. Wade has been
I think Mike from PA is 35. I didn't know his birthday was in May. Holy shit, mine is too.
16 months. It just sucks, man.
I wonder what year he was born.
Middle age, Mike. I refuse. I bought myself a leather jacket yesterday, chat. I'm going into my midlife crisis. Whole hog. Whole hog.
I just want to see what year he was born.
Thanks for the 12 months.
Oh god damn, he was born in 84. Okay. So he's 37.
As a doctor, what do I think life begins?
Damn.
And people like me, and you may be in the same camp, who are pro-life, have our feelings respected. And this is something that should not be taken away.
I'll be 35 on the 15th.
From the bench.
Yeah, but that's also something that's
Got a few good days of sleep.
Is it vegan? No. God, no. We killed animals for this jacket.
Yeah,
Murdered
for sure, man.
to get this jacket.
Sleep is important, dude. I mean,
I appreciate the opportunity to talk.
a lot of people overlook that, and I've known a lot of people who can operate off little to no sleep. I am not that person. I have always had to like have a pretty well established bedtime to where I go to bed and get a very similar amount of sleep every night, usually like 7-8 hours. And some people are like, 4 or 5 hours and they're good. Some people can do it to where like some nights they go to bed at 10 p.m., some nights they go to bed at midnight. I have never, even when I was younger, been able to do that. And it really started to affect me a lot when I started having trouble sleeping in a bed. And I don't know if I talked about this on stream before, but in my mid-20s, I got a bed that was super soft and plush and had no problem sleeping in it. And it was like probably right around the time that I hit 30 that my body was like, nope, can't sleep on that bed anymore. And it started being to where I'd wake up and I'd have such severe like lower back pain that I wouldn't even be able to stand up straight for a good long while. And I'd have to just slowly like move. Otherwise, if I got up too quickly and tried throwing my back into responsibilities of carrying my weight, I would fuck it up, like pull a muscle or jam it or something like that. And like legit, it got to a point where, because I'm just a back sleeper. I don't roll onto my sides. I don't sleep on my stomach. I just straight up on my back. And so I would end up falling asleep on my back and staying in that position all night. And then when I'd wake up in the morning, it was like I couldn't even set up. Like I would have to gingerly roll over onto my side. So I got to thinking, all right, well, when I finally got enough money to afford a new bed, I was like, I'm just going to get one that's firm. You know what I mean? I'm going to get one that's not super plush and soft. Obviously, I'm older now, and I can't handle that kind of mattress, so I got one that was firm. Not like super firm, but it was like opposite end of the spectrum of the previous one. And it was the same way. I tried sleeping on it. I would sleep on my back, and I'd still get back pain. Used to get by without sleeping before. Yeah, don't take caffeine. We'll be having a hard time. I'll just take some Gatorade and Sugar Rush. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the problem that I have too, is I've never been a big coffee drinker or anything like that. My dad drinks coffee on the daily as a way to get himself up and get himself moving. And I've gone through different phases with the caffeine. Where like I used to drink a shit ton of soda when I was younger, especially. It used to be all I would drink. And then whenever I cut it out and started just drinking water primarily, I would get like these headaches and stuff, because it's caffeine withdrawal. And I would also kind of get the same issue with energy levels dropping off. And here lately, I've gotten back to not where I drink a lot of soda, but like I would take a caffeine supplement or something like that occasionally, just as like a replacement in the morning. Instead of drinking coffee, I would just take like a cup of coffee's worth of caffeine, like in a pill or something. And then I got to the point where I was just taking more of it. And so over the last few days, I'm like, you know what? I need to back off the caffeine again. And so I've kind of got that dull headache. I had one yesterday. I've got one today where it's not bad, but it's just like my body being like, dude, you've really cut out your caffeine over the last couple days. And I'm like, yeah, you know, because I don't really have a problem with energy per se, because I do get consistent sleep. But the sleep that I get is in my recliner. I don't have a bed. Like, you probably haven't seen still, but I used to have my bed back here, and it's gone. It's gone now because I bought it at, Jesus, I don't know, maybe 6-7 months ago. And I probably slept in it 5 times. And it got to the point where Lily, she got sick. And when she gets sick, like severely sick, she would just sleep in my bed, because her bed was the same bed that she'd had since she was little. I mean, it was like a queen size bed, but you know, it wasn't anything fancy. And when she got sick and uncomfortable, it would get super difficult for her to fall asleep on her own bed. So she would sleep in my bed because I wasn't sleeping in it anyway. Well, then after a while, you know, she and I got to talking. I was like, dude, do you just want that bed? Like, if you just want the bed, then we can just get rid of your old one. You can take my bed and move it into your room, because legit, I just sleep in my recliner. And it's the only way I can sleep without having back pain, like debilitating back pain. And it's so weird. I would love to be able to sleep in a bed. Like, I just can't find like that proper firmness or plushness that's decent on my back. And I think it might have to do with a couple things. You know, I'm kind of heavy, like I'm overweight, obviously, but I'm not gargantuan. I'm getting older. I'm about to turn 35, but also, my family, you know, we've kind of got like this arch thing in our backs, like our upper back around our shoulders. We have like poor posture and stuff. I don't know. It's just like a combination of a bunch of shit where whenever I just fall asleep and sleep on my back, it just destroys my back. I have no idea why, but I had a super plush bed, started destroying my back. So I got a firm bed. And then whenever it started hurting my back as well, I started softening up a little bit at a time. You know, I'd get like mattress toppers, like memory foam, and different things to put on top of it to try to soften it up a little bit. But I never was able to get it to where I was back pain free. So, you know, and the bed itself was like $2,500 or some shit. And I'm like, I'm not going to let it go to waste. And so now she gets good quality rest at night rather than having to sleep on a mattress that, you know, wasn't great for her. But yeah, I've got my recliner, and usually what it is like I'll work, or, you know, like here over the last couple months, I'll do the streaming thing and then go get Lily from school on some days, and then eat dinner, you know, watch some TV and stuff like that. And then I don't know, 6:30, 7, maybe 7:30, I'll be in the chair and pass out until, say, like, I don't know, 10:30, and I'll wake up again. And, like, this is full transparency. Like, I eat ice cream every night, like, every single night. It's not an exaggeration. Because the medication that I take for my drug addiction, it makes me crave sugar, like an unhealthy amount of sugar. But throughout the day, I don't consume any. I might have like a piece of candy, like a Starburst or something like that, you know. But I get to a point where I crave sugar a lot. And so I'll wake up and eat some ice cream, stay up for another hour or so till maybe 11:30 or midnight, then go back to sleep and sleep until I set my alarm for like 5:30 a.m. and then I'll get up, get moving, start my day, and make sure that I'm up and moving so that I can ensure that Lily's up and moving to get ready for school. So it's worked well for me, but all said and done, I mean, when I add it up, it's like I probably get 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. But I do, even though sleeping in the chair, it doesn't hurt my back. I wake up a lot, like several times throughout the night. I think I have sleep apnea. I need to get one of those sleep studies done. Yeah, I do. I need to get some stuff done for sure. I need to at least get an in-depth sleep study so that they can check out sleep apnea. Because my mom used to have it, and then she had like bariatric surgery and lost a bunch of weight, and it resolved her apnea, but now she's got like atrial fibrillation, AFib or something like that, and she had to wear a sleep mask. The sleep mask was so uncomfortable and would like force air down her throat and create such a high pressure situation that like nobody realistically could sleep whenever they're trying to like you have to first of all wear like the full face mask, which already isn't conducive to going to sleep, and then the pressure of the oxygen, you know, it was essentially because she would stop breathing, you know, whenever she was asleep, and this would force the oxygen in, and it's like, man, that's not gonna help you sleep. So yeah. And that's another thing too, the Xanax or something along the same lines, because my anxiety is pretty bad. Like, I didn't realize that it was so bad because for the longest time I've been able to cope with it and just avoid situations that would induce anxiety. But I didn't realize how much it was affecting my day-to-day life. Just because it's been so long that I've been dealing with it, that to me it was just normal, right? But I started realizing that decisions that I do or don't make are largely based on anxiety that I'm feeling about the situation, and I'm not like consciously recognizing it as an issue of anxiety. I'm just taking it as a flaw in my character, you know? And while I should totally be taking something, I think, to help with my anxiety, it's just they don't, the treatment center that I go to doesn't allow the combination of both. The medication that they prescribe to help combat the addiction, and they don't allow you to take it along with, say, Xanax or some other type of medication. Because there is a risk. They're both respiratory depressant type medications, and I don't know if the doctor there personally has had bad experiences. But, you know, if you're an idiot and you take too much, you go to sleep and you don't wake up. But, I mean, it's like, that's the same way with any medication. You know, if you take too much of it, you die. You can take 8 Tylenol and fucking die from that, you know? Probably more than 8, but you get the picture. So that's kind of like the only limiting factor at that point is the treatment center that I go to for the addiction is miles ahead of the old one that I used to go to. So I'm kind of just like, all right, well, I've been dealing with the anxiety thing for a long time. And my thought about it, though, was maybe scheduling an appointment with the clinic physician, the treatment center, and having a one-on-one appointment with him, because he's a doctor, obviously, and maybe discussing options with him directly and being like, hey, like, I've been coping with pretty severe anxiety for a long time, and I know you kind of have a policy against prescribing both of these medications together, but is there anything else? Like, is there a substitute or an alternative that can help me deal with both? Because this new job that I'm trying to get is working on airplanes, like actually airliners. And I'm so excited about it because I've always enjoyed working with my hands, fixing things, troubleshooting. And on my mom's side of the family, my aunt, before she died, she was an airline pilot. She used to fly for like American or Delta. I can't remember. It was one of the two. But she was a airline pilot, and her husband was an airline pilot. And, you know, my aunt's daughter, who of course would be my cousin, she was married to a man who was a pilot. And he didn't fly commercially. He just had like a private pilot's license. But ever since my anxiety set in, I can't fly. Like, I can't cope with the thought of being 30,000 feet in the air and potentially having anxiety attack and not being able to get out of the plane, get off of the plane, and get back on the ground. So I've just avoided flying. But I saw this job advertised as entry-level maintenance at the airport, the international airport nearby. And I was like, that would be dope. Like, I would love to learn how to fix airplanes. And so then when I started thinking more and more about it, I got more and more excited, thinking about the prospect of being able to get into this field and, actually enjoy it as a career. And then after doing a couple interviews, I mean, because it's an FAA job, it's like a DOT, Federal Aviation Administration type job where you've got to get a background check that's a little more thorough than just, working at McDonald's. And, you got to do a thorough drug test and just, so they take it more seriously. And I'm still not sure if I'll get the job. I went and took the drug test yesterday. But the prospect of being able to do it, along with the interviews that I've done with a guy who's been doing it for like 30 years, he says, man, once you get like your airframe certification and you get your power plant certification, which, is basically like the body of the jet and the engines of the jet, he said you can get hired on with one of the major airlines and you can be stationed wherever you want. He was like, the last guy that I took through this process, he's been doing it for like 15 years now. He is stationed in the Bahamas and he works for like Delta or some shit like that. And he's just a master mechanic that works on their planes, and he lives in the fucking Bahamas. And like that to me just sounds amazing. You hate the plane? Yeah. So are you really? Okay. So that makes sense. I was wondering, I was about to ask why you don't like the boat or the ship more, but then you said you can't swim. So that makes sense. And I've thought about that too. Like, because I've thought about in the past, a few years back, my parents went on a cruise, and went on one of those big cruise ships. And so I got to thinking about that, and I'm like, would I be okay with that? Because that's one thing I've never done since my anxiety kind of presented itself. Excuse me, was go out in the middle of the ocean on any sort of boat or ship or anything like that. I've been on like lakes, in smaller boats. But that was when I started kind of contemplating was, would I be okay, from an anxiety perspective, being out in the middle of the ocean on a cruise ship? And, thinking of it, I'm like, yeah, I think so. Because to me, even though the fear and the panic that sets in has more to do with not being able to escape the situation if I were to panic, even on a ship, it's like if I were to panic, it's not like I could get off the ship, and onto dry land. But I think it's more like being enclosed, along with not being able to escape. So, like, for instance, if I started to feel somewhat panicked on like a big cruise ship, I could go to like the main deck and out onto, to where there's open space. And even though I'm still on the ocean, I think being able to essentially control my surroundings and not be trapped in like a single seat or a single spot is kind of like alleviating, Like an overnight trip, 8 to 10 hours, something. Shit's getting moved left and right halfway, even though I don't drink. I drink 4 beers just to sleep the shit out. Dude, I don't blame you. Because that's probably the part of it that would panic me is if we got into like a big storm or heavy waves or some shit. And it's like, because even though the waves themselves wouldn't necessarily bother me all that much, I start thinking about, like you see it on occasions, and I probably watch it more often than most people, but like these disaster analysis type shows. And, I've watched a few where like disaster occurs out on a cruise ship or a cargo ship or something like that. One I was just watching last week or something like that was a larger, I don't know the word for it, but it's like a transport ship, like a ferry almost, where in one port they drive their cars into like the cargo hold of the ship, and then they sail to their destination, and then they unload the vehicles, and it's like a ferry transport, and it would cross this certain part of the ocean, not a huge or super long trip, but part of the ship, the way it was constructed, is the bow of the ship would fold open, and you could drive your vehicle off like from the bow, instead of it just being like the stern backs up to port, and then you come in and off the ship from that one spot on the stern. The actual bow of the ship would use a hydraulic system, and it would fold open. So it doesn't seem like a problem, but like they were out on the ocean and they hit some heavy waves or some shit, and the locking mechanism that kept the bow closed broke down or snapped off or some shit like that. So essentially the entire bow of the ship broke off and left this giant hole, obviously, in the front of the ship, and it filled with water, and like in less than an hour, the whole thing fucking sank. And it was just because of rough waves. If it had been calm, they would have been fine, but it was the whole way that the ship was designed, which, I mean, even from like hindsight being 2020, when you're designing that ship from an engineering perspective, in what world does it seem like sensible to make it so that the bow is essentially removable? Like that should be a one solid piece. It's critical, right? It's the part that has to cut through the rough waves and deal with the most bullshit. But yes, if it's like rough waters, right, and throwing you around, first and foremost, it's probably going to make you feel sick to your stomach, like through seasickness. But then in my mind, I would just start thinking about, dude, something's going to break, and that would freak me out as well. I'm not a drinker either, usually. I mean, obviously, just being like a recovering addict, everything that I do in terms of substances, it's like I can't do it just at a moderate level. So for me, it's either all or nothing. But in that case, I could totally understand, because like if I were to go climb on a plane, I'd have to take something. I'd have to take sleeping pills or get drunk or both or something. I would need to be out completely in order to deal with that. But my dad's the same way. He can't swim either, which I give him props. That doesn't seem to affect him. His whole perspective about going out on a ship or a boat. He doesn't seem to be afraid of falling in or what would happen if like the ship sank. So I've never really considered that, but it's funny because when he gets in the pool, like we got a pool here, just an above ground pool, he can stand obviously because it's not super deep, but when we used to have a deeper pool when we were kids, he would have to wear a life jacket in the pool because if he couldn't reach the floor to stand up, he couldn't swim, so he had to wear the life jacket. And I think I just, truthfully, as a kid, my parents, especially my mom and my dad, of course, I guess more than my mom, didn't want us to end up that way. So they got us some swimming lessons and always made us feel comfortable in the water. So I think in terms of swimming, right, the biggest problem that people run into is like panic. So like if you happen to not be able to swim and you say fall overboard on a ship in the middle of the ocean, then immediately you're going to start to panic because in your mind you're thinking you can't swim and you're not going to be able to keep your head above water. And it's probably different for me because like I'm a fat dude and fat floats, but even if you can't swim, you should still be able to float. Like, for instance, you don't have to sit here and flop to keep your head above water. One of the first things they taught us whenever they were teaching us to swim was to float. Because if you get into a situation where you're so exhausted that you can't swim, then the only way to really keep your head above water is to float. And, it's just basically a matter of laying on your back on the surface of the water. Like I said, I think bigger people like myself, it's easier. but you can lay on your back and you have to breathe really slowly. But as you fill your lungs with air, you can feel your body like stay on the surface of the water, and you have to exhale gently because you will start to sink down, and the water usually comes out to like here, right? But as long as you keep your nose and your mouth above water, you're good. So it's like one way that you can keep your head above water. There's a drowning simulator video. I don't want to watch that. I don't. I probably will now that you've mentioned it. Oh, Christ. All right. Hold on. Yeah, we'll watch it. It's funny you mentioned that. I mean, I don't know what the drowning simulator video is like, but it gets me to think about, there was one time I damn near drowned whenever I was swimming in my pool as a kid. And it was completely stupid, the reason it happened, because I was diving down to the bottom, you know, just like you would throw things in the deep end and you dive down and grab them and come back up. And I can't remember why or what occurred, but I just pushed it too far where I thought I had more oxygen than I did. And then, like by the time I got close to breaking the surface of the water, like I was blacking out. And it was terrifying, man. It was really scary. All right, let's see. Let me mute that background music. This probably scares the shit out of you, huh?
Et Charles?
Ouais. Hey, quelle belle journée là. Oh.
Ouais. Ça va?
Ouais.
Tu prends la barre 2 minutes?
T'es sûr là?
Ouais. Tu le sens bien?
Ok.
Allez.
Oh là là.
Quoi?
Je fais quoi là?
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a?
Julien?
Quoi?
Scroll without stopping to stay on the surface? What? Is that for real? Wow, that's crazy, dude. I can't believe that actually works. Wow. I'm not scrolling right now. I was gonna say, that's pretty crazy if that does work. See, that's the first thing, man, is like he's panicking, you know, which of course it would be scary. But right now the waves aren't, they're not tossing him, you know, it's fairly calm. And truthfully, he doesn't necessarily need to be doing anything with his arms. I mean, if he just puts him out beside him and just breathe slowly, then it should keep him on the surface of the water. But when you start to panic, I mean, it obviously, it wears you out really fast, you know? Yeah, that's a good idea. Take off all the shit that's gonna weigh you down. Oh, has he got a cramp? Oh no. That sucks. It's like, where's your dipshit friend, man? Holy shit. I'd be pissed. I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? It should never in your life take you that long to return with the boat. Is his hands going numb? God damn. Oh no. His life is flashing before his eyes. I didn't even consider how cold the water might be. Why are you pulling off your fingernails? Oh, that makes sense, yeah. Did that motherfucker just pull off his fingernails? What the fuck are you doing that for? I don't see any benefit to that. Like, what are you doing? Oh, that was the worst part. Christ. Maybe that was just a hallucination, huh? They did that shit on purpose. 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Oh, Yami Mash played this?
Hey, what's happening, everyone? This is Yummy Mesh. Welcome to Drowning Simulator, or a trip out to sea.
This motherfucker Yami Mash, I have never watched any of his videos, but I remember like Markiplier back in the day. He used to talk about Yami Mash. I don't know if he's still doing YouTube or what he's doing.
Be careful there, don't trip off your boat. You might drown.
Well, I think that's probably the whole premise behind the vids, yeah?
Bigger boat.
Alright, let's just get to how long he survives.
Time soon.
Oh, he's actually doing pretty good.
Fire in the ocean. I'm gonna stop scrolling because I don't think I need to. Yeah, but we're just gonna drown now. Yeah, that's it. Game over. Dolphins, this will be a great time to come save me.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. Jesus. Because I started thinking about that, like if his friend can't sail.
I'm gonna have sex with your wife now.
That does suck because truthfully, unless he knows how to position the sail and rotate it, then regardless of what he tries to do with the damn,
Let's just, I might just have to edit out the first 2 minutes.
what the hell is it called? The steering wheel. But there's a word for it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if he
Look like an absolute.
turning that wheel's not going to do a damn bit of good if he doesn't know how to sail. So yeah, you're exactly right. That's a bummer, and I'm sure he would probably have to deal with a lot of guilt, you know, if his friend drowned because he couldn't get the goddamn thing turned to go the other direction. That would be
I've ever seen.
sad and embarrassing because people would be like, dude,
radical
for real?
thing that has ever been put to paper. This is batshit crazy.
Yeah.
This makes the
Yeah, that would be nuts, dude. I would be so bummed out. I'd be like, oh shit, man. I'm sorry you fucking drowned because I didn't know how to get the boat turned.
washed away for the whims of the majority of the court.
Oh god, dude.
It makes ideological
I'm helm. The helm is what the fucking word is.
The practicing principle of the court.
If you fucking turn off the engine, will it drown? What? What, the boat? Will the boat drown? Oh shit. Well, and you know, truthfully, I know that based on the type of sailboat, right? They typically have an engine. It may not be a big one, but a backup engine, right? Because when you're out, you can't always depend on the wind to stay blowing and blowing in the direction that you want it to blow in, right? Because truthfully, it's just like any other sailboat. You can only go in the direction that the wind is blowing, right? I mean, I know you can kind of finagle and manipulate the sail a little bit to help your cause, but like if the wind is blowing south and you want to go directly north, you're fucked, like, right? So I'm thinking modern sailboats, for the most case, they've got an engine on them, or they should. I mean, it would be irresponsible to go out without any sort of engine. Amber and Johnny, you know, I saw that as I was just flicking through the YouTube channel, and we could watch some of that. I watched the what's her name? Emily Baker. Yep. I've been watching several days of her coverage of it, and to be 100% honest, I didn't give two shits about it prior to like this hearing taking place, just because I'm thinking to myself, you know, it's the typical Hollywood drama stuff. But listening to the hearing and what actually occurred, it's insane, man. Like, it really is crazy, because my original perspective of it was, you know, that, okay, Johnny Depp is just secretly an asshole. You know what I mean? And it was like there was that hearing in Great Britain that occurred, and it was like the Sun magazine, which is like a tabloid, I think, over there in the UK. And they wrote an article that essentially, I think, called Johnny Depp a wife beater, and then he sued them. And essentially, in that court case, I think they told Johnny Depp to fuck off and basically get over it. And so, like, when that occurred and that ruling came down, I kind of had the same perspective that, well, if that court found that, you know, this tabloid magazine or whatever was okay in calling him a wife beater, then there must be evidence of that, right? And then when I started watching this hearing and hearing some of the shit and the testimony and the recordings and stuff, it's like my opinion has completely changed. I'm on Johnny's side. I'm for sure on Johnny's side, just based on not just like the testimony and the witnesses, but like the recordings and all that kind of stuff. I think there have been a few instances that have been described where Johnny was at fault, and especially being somebody who has struggled with substance abuse. I kind of can see I have some insight into when he might be bullshitting, or I can completely relate to what a lot of his friends and a lot of the eyewitnesses are saying about when he would get drunk or high, how his demeanor wouldn't change much. Like, he didn't really get agitated, and a lot of the recordings and video that you see of him, he's like assaulting the cabinets or a refrigerator, you know what I mean? And when he testified as to what his childhood was like and how his father just took the abuse from his mother and essentially would just try to escape the situation without resorting to violence, it made me feel a lot more for him. But at first, to be truthful, was like, well, that sounds like a great story that you would tell the jury if you were trying to set yourself up as being that same type of person, right? Where you don't engage in confrontation. But I relate to it because I'm the same way. Like, I hate conflict. I hate arguing. I hate fighting. And I've had so much of it in my life that whenever it occurs, I try to get away from it. Yeah, she's a crazy bitch, dude. Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame them one bit. She's she's sexy for sure. But that's the even in this hearing, dude. Look at her face. Like she's mean mugging Johnny's attorney, and she has such a hard time painting her face as being the innocent victim. You know how like there's some people when you look at their face, you can just see there's more depth to them than what they're painting on the surface. Right there, dude. That look on her face, you can tell there's more going on, like beneath the surface. You know, whether she's got issues with a personality disorder, yeah, she is for sure acting. And she's like, if this is her acting and like trying to pretend to be innocent, she's fucking it up because you'll see she'll smirk. Like she's trying to right now put this sad and somber face on, but she'll look away every so often and you'll see the corner of her mouth just turn upward a little bit where she's smirking. You know, like she knows like that. Like in her mind she thinks she's fucking tricking people. And I got so pissed yesterday when I was watching the coverage because the judge has been very inconsistent about the type of objections that she'll overrule or sustain. And like yesterday, Johnny's attorney was trying to, you know, essentially speak to Johnny's agent about the level of offers that Johnny had before and after this op-ed came out. And of course, Amber's attorney kept objecting, objection, speculation, you know, just giving out whatever reason she could possibly think of. And for the most part, the judge sustained the objections and really didn't let Johnny's agent express how much of a loss it was in terms of like job offers and things like that after Amber posted this op-ed. Like, you know, the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, they essentially kicked him off of that. He lost that Fantastic Beasts role and shit. Yeah, yeah, yep, absolutely. Absolutely, in-depth fan. But no, I found like it to be really interesting because I mean at first I didn't want to believe in the prospect of, or let me put it this way, it's not that I didn't want to believe in the prospect of like female on male abuse. I mean, it's definitely a thing. But I think the problem in my mind was exactly what Amber was talking shit about in a lot of the recordings is nobody's ever going to believe you, Johnny. Like, who's going to look at the size of you and look at the size of me? Nobody's ever going to believe that I was abusing you. And that's sick because she's right. I mean, to a certain extent, if this had been 10 years ago, they wouldn't have even entertained the idea that Johnny was being abused by Amber.
Your Honor, again.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, if the roles were reversed, his ass would be in jail. Like, pretty much, you know. It wouldn't even be an argument about whether or not he was guilty. Like the taunting, you know what I mean? And from the testimony and people who were eyewitnesses saying that she would instigate this, or, you know, there would be an argument that crops up. That's pretty normal, man. Like, all relationships, for the most part, will have moments where arguments will break out. And the whole goal of it, right, is to try to come to an agreement where you can calm things down or ultimately just agree to disagree and then gauge like whether or not the argument that you're having is worth the fight, you know. But it was like he would try to escape and leave or go lock himself in a room and she would like chase his ass down and goad him into fighting some more. And so it was like opposite type behaviors and opposite responses, you know? Yeah, exactly. They don't want it. That's the problem. They don't want it. That they don't want the equality, I promise. They really don't. Because the expectation then becomes, if you want that equality, then whatever it is that has been previously established in our society that is appropriate for men to take on or accomplish, now has to be appropriate for you to accomplish. So open your own fucking jar of mayonnaise. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't mean that to be shitty, but like there's been these societal norms, right, that have been established that, hey, carrying heavy shit or, you know, taking on this or that, you know, the roles that are more about like building, maintenance, hands-on type things. Now, you, of course, will get, you know, females that operate outside those boundaries. I've known several females who are amazing at fixing machinery and cars and but you know, it's just like society has kind of adopted these certain things to be more appropriate for men than women. Um but I think it's like they want to pick and choose aspects of it that they do want while leaving out aspects that they don't want, you know. Like I do agree with the fact that both genders should be paid equally. You know, if they're doing the same job, if they have the same educational level, then yeah, man, there shouldn't be any difference in pay. But you can't have like you can't just pick and choose, you know, and I think that's the problem is you know, it's not just gender equality, it's equality amongst all facets. People and it's just human nature, right? You want to pick out the good parts and leave out the bad parts. And that's ideal. That's what we all want to do. And so, yeah, the way that things have been set up for a long time, it should be changed. But a lot of people railing for certain equalities, I think that once they get them, they may not want them. Yeah, exactly. The WNBA. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, you want equality? Okay, cool. I'll tell you what. How about you guys set up a team? Okay. And then just take, you know, the best ones you got. All right. Just the best female athletes you got. Put them on a team, you know, and then we'll post them up against, you know, a male team. Okay. And you know what I mean? Get at it. Because if you blend the two leagues, right? And you've got all of the genders participating in the same league, I think that would be fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's not a big deal to me. But then if like a team, whether it be like an owner, a coach, or a general manager of a certain professional team, somehow has an entire team of females, you know, whether it's like a draft selection or through trades or whatever, I bet you they'd start bitching really fast. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So right there, you make a good point about, you know, there are certain things they want to be equal on, but by the same token, all of a sudden it becomes unfair. Because if you break it down, like on a biological level, right, it's not just gender norms that have been established through society that we just created here in the last 100 years or whatever. You know, it's been like long established gender roles, like hunting and stuff like that, you know, back when cavemen were alive, where it was thought to be like a more dangerous job that required certain level of strength or whatever. And so it was like the men would take on that role, and then while they were away, the only caregiver that remained at their home or their cave or whatever the fuck you want to call it was like the mother, you know. They were the only responsible adult that was still left. So they were responsible for taking care of the kids while the father went out and hunted, you know. Yeah, and see that's really what it breaks down to is the roles and the way that things got established were based on like generations of beliefs. So it's not like we just started being unfair or that inequality became a thing just in the last 200 years. It's been like a long established thing. And that's kind of the issue, right? Is so like back in the day, whenever somebody needed to go hunt, it was a specific practice or activity that required strength and certain things to kill animals, you know. And so men took on that responsibility because biologically they were better suited to that role. And so, you know, that kind of continued throughout generations and generations, the belief that any activity that required more strength, a man would have to take on that role, and that was basically just based on biology, and for the most part, like a healthy male would be stronger than your average healthy female. You know, just biologically. Now, if you get a guy like me who sits on his ass all day, and then a female bodybuilder who's been, you know, lifting weights and exercising for the last 20 years, she would whoop my ass. But, you know, just on like the base level where we both sit on our asses, just from a biological perspective, if we were both healthy and given the same level of nutrients and didn't have any debilitating illnesses or degenerative disorders, the male would be thought to be stronger, you know? 30% of them were 90% of the list of men, 5% are like women. Yeah, so, and that's... Yeah. Yeah. You know what's funny too is somebody, I can't remember who it was I was listening to or watching the other day, were talking about how a lot of people who are like radical conservative men that are like far conservative these days are created because of like divorce, you know, like they're a victim of the divorce court, where essentially, you know, even if they didn't make a shit ton of money, but they were married and they ended up getting a divorce, then there's previous spouse ends up getting half of their wealth. And it doesn't even have to be a shit ton of it. But, you know, especially if you're not super wealthy like Jeff Bezos was, and then he got a divorce and his wife ended up becoming like the richest woman in the world, that in itself was absurd. But, hold on, my camera just froze. That in itself was pretty fucking absurd. I don't know why it looks all retro and crusty. But whenever they got a divorce, it ended up being something where like she immediately became like the richest woman on earth. And then started, you know, it seemed like she started donating a lot of her money, which is great, you know, like to be philanthropic with the money that she got. That's pretty cool. But by the same token, it's like, Jesus, like that's a lot of money for you to bring on.
So we have quite a lot to talk about. I just want to make sure that they aren't going to be doing
Exactly.
in this chat. But that
Yeah,
there was a lot
Elon
of
Musk.
information that we just saw in that motion to strike. Again, argued outside
What
the
did they
presence
strike?
of the jury, but a preview, I think, of closing statements. This is argued outside the presence of the jury because what the lawyers say is not evidence, it's argument. And the jury is not at a place yet where they can listen to argument. I think that Rottenborn did a good job arguing. He did a good job pointing out to the judge that, hey, Ben Chu is putting on for the international audience streaming it. Well, Ben Chu, we thank you. That was a very fiery and entertaining motion to strike for all of us here to watch. But Rottenborn pointed out some problems that are going to be problems for Depp's team going forward. However, what the judge ultimately ruled is that there is enough evidence that the jury, the finder of fact, has to decide this case. And that's exactly where we are. I want to know, Elaine, what are you doing talking to the judge? You're like, what? She's been ready to go that entire motion to dismiss. She's very animated up at the bench right now. And I think this is probably a pleasant conversation. I'm sure they're talking about scheduling, but
Well, they're trying to dismiss the whole case.
this is something else. So we are going to break that down. I just want to make sure what happens. So what we're going to get to after lunch is the first witness from the defense, and we will be in Amber
Sweet.
Heard's case in chief.
Anything further? 1:30. What? Court's in recess.
Court's in recess
Till 1:30. Okay, so that's about an hour.
30 Central Standard Time, 1:30 Eastern Time, and I will be resuming after lunch. I will have to take a quick break because I am doing an interview for a half an hour, but I will be back for at least a half an hour before that.
There we go.
When we get
Hopefully it won't freeze again. It might though.
Amber Heard's first witness.
So
Wow, y'all, that was a lot. I am going to give kind of my thoughts on what we learned.
yeah, I want to get the summary. I was running my mouth when we came in kind of late.
We are going to get into super chats and questions. So you guys are asking, will Amber be first? I don't think so. I think that they will have their forensic psychologist first. That's what's being reported by Court TV. Court TV has been very good with having sources on
Yeah,
legal
for
teams,
sure.
on
Oh god damn it,
legal
this
teams in
fucking
these
camera.
cases. And so when they've reported on witness scheduling and ordering, they've been right this entire
Yeah,
trial. So
I completely agree with that. People are gonna shit a brick, and rightfully so. They should. I mean, it's such an absurd case, and anybody who's really been paying attention or looking into it,
So the
it
thing
really
that I was
seems to be.
excited about was the
Hold
judge
on, I'm
coming
gonna
off
tweak something on the
Rottenborn
camera.
to talk about a stipulation. I realized that
Where's
some
that
of
at?
that was probably like, you guys, what's happening? And we couldn't describe it as it was going
Where's the
on
lock
because it was
detect
going
camera?
on. But
Camera hub.
that was a stipulation between Herd's team and Depp's team that Herd would not be called during Depp's case in chief.
Really?
When it comes to whether she wrote the headline or whether she republished and tweeted out the headline, it it couldn't be called yet because the parties agreed that the
Excuse me.
plaintiff Depp would not call Amber Heard during the case in chief. And that's what they were talking about with regard to the stipulation. Good to see you, Rachel Luna. So that's what they were talking about.
7 days to die. Sweet.
Just like, yo,
I really need to check that out.
agreed together as lawyers.
I think I would really enjoy that, if I'm being honest.
Not be called during the case in chief. So because Amber Heard would not be called during the plaintiff's case, they can't get into that evidence. That evidence is going to come in once she takes the stand in her own case. And her taking the stand in her own case is different. I completely understand why they stipulated, because they wanted to keep the narrative where the plaintiff controlled the narrative, not where you get the or where the defendant controlled the narrative of her own case, not where you get the plaintiff calling her. In the Tasha K. Cardi B lawsuit, the first witness Cardi B called was Tasha K. Didn't you say this? Didn't you say that? Didn't you publish this? Isn't this your YouTube video? That would generally be what would happen from the plaintiff in a defamation case. You call the defendant and you grill them because they're an adverse party, so you get to cross-examine them first. They agreed to allow Amber to control her narrative when she testified for her own team, testified for the defense, and when she got to be direct examined by her team. So she got to get her story in first, the way that Johnny Depp did, and then get cross-examined. So that is a fair thing. But then when they turned around and were trying to argue there's no evidence, the judge is like, no, no, no. And that's why the judge took that statement under advisement. Depp's team is suing for 3 different statements, the statements in the article and the retweet of the headline. And because there's not evidence about the retweet, I think the judge did the right thing and said, I'm putting this under advisement. I'll decide after that evidence is in. And I think that was a fair thing to do. The judge reviewed the evidence last night. The judge knew this motion was coming. Everyone knew this motion was coming. They knew they were going to rest today. So they were prepared in advance. But what was fascinating for me is watching, because generally when I did trial work, and this is very common in criminal, especially when you're working for the state level government, that you are by yourself. You don't have anyone doing research. That Depp's team is doing legal research at the table and handing post-it notes to Ben Chu to respond to the case that was cited by Amber Heard's team. Watching the level of lawyering happen in real time was really fantastic and exciting to watch. We definitely saw a much more fiery Ben Chu, and the reason I think that was so, I saw it in the chat. Everybody's like, fire.
Fire!
We've seen Rottenborn scream for 3 weeks on cross-examination. It's not new to us to see Rottenborn get kind of fiery and say things. Ben Chu has been very mild-mannered in everything that he's done. And he comes in here hot going, she's the abuser. And you're like, what is happening, Ben Chu? There we go. There we go. And that is why I've said over and over and over again, when you try to make everything important, nothing is. When you try to make everything dramatic, nothing is. And we will see how that plays out for these 2 teams of lawyers during closing, because the jury's going to do the same thing we all just did. When you see Rottenborn get up and be like this and this and that, you're like, okay. But then when you see Ben Chu get up with like literal fire and brimstone, you're like, oh, well, that's something different. We haven't seen that before. So what happened in this motion to dismiss or motion to strike is that we saw, let me see. We saw Rottenborn arguing that there cannot be statements.
Holy shit, I'm huge.
They're defamatory because they're
At least it's
true.
working, though.
She did speak up against domestic violence and domestic abuse. And this is what I thought they were going to argue. I think this is what they're going to argue in closing as well. She literally made the TRO. And because she literally made the TRO, she spoke up. And that
TRO.
speaking up on domestic abuse is what she was writing about. And so when she was writing about it, it's literally true. I think that's what we're going to see on closing.
What is the
from
TRO?
Team. So what else? They talked about the defamation per se and the judge being a gatekeeper. I saw a lot of comments go flying by in the chat about the judge gatekeeping. Here's what it means. The judge can't let a case that's legally insufficient get to the jury. So it is called the gatekeeping function of the judge. Cases that cannot stand don't go to the jury. The judge in her ruling made it very clear. I saw more than a scintilla of evidence. This goes to the jury. It's not proper for me to lock this up essentially behind a gate. Let's see. They talked about the title of the op-ed. There's going to be argument that Amber didn't write the op-ed, but again, this is defamation.
Where the hell did that go?
Implication. They're implying it's Johnny Depp, and the ACLU testimony, which we heard Ben Chu call the ACLU a co-conspirator. The ACLU testimony went a long way in that to show that they wanted maximum impact. And we saw Ben Chu get the slight in there, or the shade in there, saying, you know, this would be in the back of Teen Vogue if it hadn't been for the references to Johnny Depp and the timing with how close Aquaman was coming out. Because, I mean, what he essentially said was, nobody gave a shit about Amber Heard except Aquaman was coming out, and she referenced Johnny Depp.
That's true.
That was the vibe. That was not the exact language. It would have been inappropriate in court if that were the exact language.
Would have been funny to hear, though.
Ben Chu called her statements about the divorce a scam to get $7 million, that it was never meant to go to the ACLU. Ben Chu called the ACLU's co-conspiratorial stuff disgusting. And I see you guys asking in the chat, would Depp sue the ACLU? If he was going to do it, he should have done it in this lawsuit. I think it's beyond the scope of the statute of limitations now, and that he can't. We also
exactly. I was trying to think the other day, as my mom and I were talking about the whole case,
whole argument,
and I couldn't think of anything other than Aquaman that she had been in.
Emotional and verbal abuse.
And I had no fucking clue who she was prior to her relationship with Johnny Depp. And truthfully, I didn't even know about her relationship with Johnny Depp until all this shit came out.
That's not the
you know, even if it was just like if she had come out in Aquaman, even though I watched Aquaman,
Travis McGivern,
I would have had no clue who she was, or that she had been an actress for a while, without having heard that she'd been, you know, in a relationship with Johnny, and that it'd been some sort of like Rocky type relationship, you know. So yeah, I have no clue. I have no clue who she is, and truthfully didn't give two shits whatsoever.
Of that article,
and still, I mean, despite all this, all she's going to be known as after this is over is that one who used to abuse Johnny Depp, and she's just going to be like a pariah, you know what I mean? She's going to be completely cast out. And hopefully the only positive that I can think that might come from this is hopefully Johnny gets some sort of redemption. You know what I'm saying? Like, to where they let him
bing her for
they let him back into the industry,
the online version, and bing her for the retweeting of it, but let the other one go, possibly because the title's different in the
because he doesn't deserve this kind of treatment.
This, but not for that. Whatever.
I mean, from if it's completely honest, you know, if my perception and the perception that a lot of people have of what's going on is true, then
going to see Depp's team.
Johnny has been completely wronged.
Did the
You
thing.
know, he's been completely mistreated
She is this and this and this.
and made out to
That's,
be
I
some
think,
sort of villain.
Of what we're going to get in closing arguments. I imagine these closing arguments are going to be feisty. There will be some objections in them.
Which
There's no
he
objections
never
directly
was,
on the motion,
you know,
because
from the way
in
it
this case, there's
seems.
nothing to object to. So, with that, let's get to some more of your questions. I'm going to see if I missed
Disney
any.
is a fucking joke, man.
I will cover this again in a
I
summary.
mean, just in hearing the way that they handled this whole scenario, where it's like,
Live React's first
as
look.
soon as there was a mention of any kind that Johnny Depp might be an abuser,
Isaac Baruch.
they didn't even ask him, like, to explain or to give his perspective or any of that kind of shit. They just immediately wrote him off. And that in itself is completely unacceptable.
We're going to see that in closing as well. She lied about this. She lied about that. She lied about this. And therefore, she's a lying liar that lies. And that's where we're going to get to.
And that's true. She is a lying liar that lies.
Some more questions. Who goes first at closing? Depp's team goes first at closing, then Amber Heard's team, then Depp's team gets a rebuttal because they bear the burden of proof. They're the ones who sued. So that's what that is. I'm just asking my mods to remind me what time court said they would be back. I think they said 1:30, right?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I didn't even see, truthfully, like, apparently there was a 5th Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and I don't think I've seen it.
Very, very.
But wasn't he cast out of that as a result of this? And then there was supposed to be like a 4th one, or I'm sorry, like a 6th one. And they didn't let him be a part of that either, or some shit, which
So I absolutely
in itself is completely absurd.
decline this. So let us get through all of the questions that we can, because there are a bunch of them. I still have Hotmail too. I'm a manager, and when I hire, I usually tell how old they are based on what email they use. I mean, it's fair. I'm sure some people still have AOL. What are each of their net
Love
worths?
this
I have
fucking
no idea.
picture.
That has not come into evidence yet in this case, and I don't know off the top of my head. But I don't know if it'll come up. They might ask Amber Heard about
I don't know what happened to my cam link.
Witnesses subject to recall. When are those witnesses brought back? Can Depp's team call witnesses or only recall them when?
Yeah, he really did. He absolutely carried it. And it's interesting to hear a lot of the behind the scenes bullshit, you know, where they're talking about how like he had a certain perspective of how he wanted to play the character, or you know, how he wanted Captain Jack Sparrow to behave or whatever, and that the Disney, or you know, the producer, I don't know if it was Jerry Bruckheimer, but a lot of the higher ups were like
a fear of finding.
they didn't want it to be that way. They didn't want the character to be that way.
I really don't think this is about money.
And when they finally agreed and allowed him to do his thing with that character, it immortalized Captain Jack Sparrow. And like you said, he made that whole series.
Or later on the witness.
And truthfully, I would not have even bothered watching it if it hadn't been for that character.
But I would put her.
I mean, there was a couple of other like semi-interesting ones, but not at all in the way that Jack Sparrow was. He absolutely made the entire series. So, and there was like the vast majority of people that continued to watch the series, even into the 3rd and 4th installment. It was just because of him. It had nothing to do with any of the other actors per se.
I don't think it was tremendously helpful, but I think the argument there is, well, if you saw more, wouldn't you have noted it? And the argument there for
Is this thing working? What the fuck?
Blood on her lip. I kind of understand why they.
Let's see. I need this to go.
Earlier in the witness list, I agree with that. They should have played her when they played the other doctor and nurses. But maybe they wanted to get in the psychological testimony first before they got to this nurse and kind of bury her between experts. Even though this is a civil case, can Amber Heard get in trouble for lying if she testifies? If so, there are criminal and civil penalties for perjury. But until we see something like that, it's really hard to what if and hypotheticalize.
Yeah, I don't think they would bother. They should. They should absolutely clap her ass cheeks to the wall for this, because it kind of goes back to what are those? It's called anti-slap in the United States, but basically, there's certain laws in place that prevent people from frivolously filing lawsuits and suing people. She should be hit with some sort of
want it on record.
anti-slap
Even when he
charge.
testified he did, but earlier he didn't. That's
Checks
fair.
Pro Wrestling. Just too loud as fuck. Yeah, they are, dude. They really are. I didn't even know this either, and I didn't hear this prior to yesterday as part of the testimony, but I guess that at a certain point, Disney brought Johnny Depp in to play Jack Sparrow as part of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney. And so they replaced his animatronic with him on the ride, which I thought was fucking hilarious. I did not know that they did that, but that's pretty incredible that they did.
46 or something? Crazy. Why hasn't
Because can you imagine like going through that ride? I don't know if you've ever been to it or been on it.
in motion
But you know, it's just like,
we just saw him now.
see if I can
So
tweak
he
that
might
without
not be
fucking
covering
anything
what
up.
he's
There we go.
working. He might
But yeah, it's, you know, you're like on a little boat with a bunch of other people.
loving the coverage.
It's fucking hilarious, dude.
He's been a
Like,
great supporter of
because, and you can tell the difference too. I'm sure they probably had him speaking like over a microphone, you know, like kind of patched into the public address system on the ride.
So kind, thank you.
But dude, I would have freaked the fuck out.
The testimony in that comment. The one thing
Because I think my memory is real fuzzy of when I went on the ride last, but I think Jack's character is like up on the like there's a platform, like a cliff type system, so he's not super far away, but he's not like right next to the boat. But I can imagine being. I wonder if somebody's got a video of that shit. I bet you they do. I bet you somebody on YouTube has posted up a video of that. I want to check it. Yeah. There you go. Okay, so Walt Disney actually, that's awesome, posted a video. I would shit a brick, dude. It'd be incredible, though. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, they put him way closer.
I've been expecting you for hours.
Oh, shit.
Captain Jack Sparrow. Hello, and I would like to swim to you, jump in your boat. What?
Dude, he fucking... That's so funny, man. Holy shit.
So do I. Bring it. Does the sword make my bum look big?
He's fucking ate up, dude.
Naughty.
Naughty. Aww. People love his ass.
I want you all to know that today is the day that you all most Captain Jack Sparrow.
He's fucking crazy, dude. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool that they did that.
Position.
I would have lost my shit.
I don't know either. They never really.
I don't know why this text disappeared.
It seems that this was part of their
Captain Hook, yeah. Did you ever see that movie
worked with Johnny Depp and
called
Amber, but I
Hook?
don't know.
It was
Love Leonard's watching.
God, it came out like when I was a kid.
It's snake
It
season.
had like Dustin Hoffman in it. Or wait, yeah, Dustin Hoffman played Captain Hook.
Equals duty to report.
And
abuse.
let's see, Robin Williams was in it.
I back around to it, which was surprising to me.
It was pretty good, but
So after they rested,
That's
Amber
like
heard
when
some
I
support
think
emotion
of
from the
Captain
city.
Hook.
Yep, we
That's
just
the
saw that.
first thought that pops into my head
We'll see
is
if
that
Amber
movie.
today. I do. I think it'll be this afternoon. I
Why
think
did
she's
why
asked,
did this
as
text
if, she's gonna
disappear?
be
This
testifying.
is bizarre as
Know
fuck.
how much time's left in court and how much time is in that
It's
video
right there.
deposition they're going to show.
It's
Our friends at
popping
One
up behind that. What the hell?
Someone said the laughing, smiling threw them off. I couldn't agree more. And that's the hard thing with an edited deposition
Huh.
is that there might have been things the lawyers said that were a light moment, but if those get edited out,
Label,
it's really hard
container.
what that behavior
It's
is.
supposed to be underneath that.
Great job, love your channel. Just joined. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. So
Huh.
many
Okay,
reactions,
there I got it.
isn't it all relevant
Shit's
to
going
this
all wrong, man.
what's private?
Peter Pan's the real villain. Yeah. My daughter said that same shit the other day, and it's funny because I never considered it the way that she presented it.
Hence why Amber decided
She was like, "You know, all he did was fucking kidnap children, right?" And I'm like,
that.
"Huh." I never really thought about it. She's like, "Yeah, he fucking taking kids from their bedroom in the middle of the night.
Wouldn't surprise me
I telling them to come off to Never Never Land,
that she was talking about
and endangering them." And I'm like,
she didn't say it.
"Holy shit, kid!" I was like, I never thought about it like that. But I guess you're right.
A high profile individual. Question, Emily, with video testimonies, is it
And she's
possible
like,
lawyers to object? Yes.
she's like, "Yeah," and then he hangs out with Tinkerbell, and she's fucking all drugging people with pixie dust. We were watching,
edited and played in court. So
holy shit! Oh, there was this Netflix reboot of this show called
Amica 2 Electric
Charmed, or what was it called?
was an Amica
Charmed. Yeah.
Bath, which was also something
Yeah. Charmed.
earlier.
But anyway, Charmed was like a show when I was a kid, and so she was like, "Have you ever seen Charmed?" And immediately I was like,
Strong testimonies.
"Charmed?" I was like, "Yeah, man, that's an old ass show."
Might be the point.
But I didn't know that they did like a Netflix reboot. It didn't get a lot of coverage or a lot of popularity, I don't think. But
I think they might be
we were watching some of that the other day, and it was pretty entertaining. But there was an episode on that show where there was like a pixie. They were chasing down like a pixie that was like murdering people or some shit like that.
Went too fast.
And that's what brought up the whole conversation. I was like, dude, I have never considered that Peter Pan was the actual villain, but that's true, man.
Happy early birthday. You're
That
welcome.
makes sense.
Not my birthday today. It's my birthday this week.
Wow, everybody's got birthdays in May, dude. Mine's on the 15th. I'm excited.
Divorce, I'm sure
I'll be 35. I'm old as fuck.
for 15 months. He has her tattoo.
Hook
Why
used to
forever?
be kidnapped by
I'm not sure what
Peter
that's
Pan,
related to,
though.
but
Hook
thank you. Glad I checked it out. Great
gave him
coverage.
grow old.
Thank you.
Is that true?
Any legal
Is that his backstory?
option that would allow for Miss Heard to avoid testimony?
That's insane.
Was great. Thank you. No.
Holy shit.
Has to prove her
I mean, I would be pissed too
she wants. I think
if I had been kidnapped by Peter Pan and then was able to escape and grow old.
it's really hard.
I would become his main villain too. I'd be like, "Motherfucker, you stole me from my
But it is
house
really hard with those video depositions.
while I was in it."
So I will take a look.
I'd be
I'm
pissed.
timid to mess.
I'd
with
be after his ass myself.
Math was definitely mathing. Sister Babylon. Question: could his agents also sue for damages? No, I don't think his agents could sue for damages on the loss of the agency fees that they would have gotten if he had signed those deals, because those aren't guaranteed until the deals are signed.
That's true.
Whoever interceded with the deal.
It was kind of appalling to really see how much of a difference it created, though, after that op-ed. I knew that he kind of fell off, but I wasn't sure if it had anything to do with the op-ed or if it was more to do with the fact that he was getting older. But, you know, truthfully, it's like even at the age that he is, he still puts on a really good performance, even like when you're considering that little tidbit that he did at Disney. Like, he was really energetic and very entertaining.
And he did have
And people were freaking the fuck out.
taking him for a
Yours on the 26th? See, that's what I'm saying, dude. Everybody's got a birthday in May, and it's always the best people. Like, I'm not even bullshit. Like, it's always the coolest people have birthdays in May. I'm probably just partial because my birthday's in May.
5:30 this morning to line up.
But seriously, it's like
I imagine
spring,
tomorrow. I won't
summertime,
Tiger to randomly show up.
you know, like May specifically.
I think that's the court of public
A lot of people come out and have birthdays in May, and it's like, hell yeah, man. And like I said, it's always, maybe it's just because everybody that are born around similar times of the year
was already unhappy with him.
at their core might have similarities, you know what I mean? Of course, there's so many factors that make people develop differently, but it's all almost like you can relate more to people who were born around the same time of year as you. I don't know, it's bizarre. I wonder if they've done any research into that other than like that pseudoscience stuff with like astrology, you know, like your zodiac sign, which is kind of cool to look at that stuff like occasionally. because I think I'm like right on the cusp between like one zodiac sign and another. I'm a Taurus technically, but it seems like around either, I don't know if it's the first part of May that's included as Taurus. I'm pretty sure it is. And then the latter part of May. So your zodiac sign's probably different since your birthday's on the 26th. I can't remember what the other one is though. But, you know, again, it's kind of funny to look at like the summary of each zodiac sign, because I think a lot of people, regardless of whether it truly reflects their characteristics or not, it's funny to see somebody outline, oh, the humble Taurus is this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, a lot of people want to identify as being like part of a group, you know, like, yeah, that's totally me. Oh, The Rock's birthday? And Zuckerberg? Oh, yeah, Henry Cavill's a cool guy for sure. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, Zuckerberg can fuck right off, but I'll take the rest of them. Zuckerberg is just an alien, dude. I think that he just tells people he was born in May to try to seem more human. He is not. Oh, really? See, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, the list of cool people born in May is getting longer and longer. I remember, like, when I was a kid, and, you know, it'd always be like, oh, I wonder what other cool people were born in May. And, you know, back in the day, I don't even remember it being anybody that I much gave a shit about. I'm sure a lot of famous, popular people throughout history were born in May, but it's definitely more prominent now, or at least the people that are part of the May birthdays are more memorable to me now than they ever were in the past when I looked at a list.
Or should we expect more of the same? I think they'll probably be better on direct than they were on cross. And we've seen Rottenborn. I mean, he argues well. I liked him in opening statement. He was linear and easy to follow. And then he got all yelly and pouty on cross. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? He was like, Your Honor, I hope he'll be better on direct. Question, could an over answer more than a yes or no be a signal to JD's lawyer to ask? No, I mean, it shouldn't be. They should answer the yes or no. That witness has testified enough to know. Question, defamation doesn't have to be perpetual, right? Correct? So if Johnny Depp's rep was damaged enough that earnings dipped from 18 to 20, that's enough. The jury gets to decide what enough is enough, but yes. Oh, good day, my spiffy Lego mumbo jumbo talkie friend. Hello, Matt Pond. Good to see you. Apparently, Amber's new PR guy has gotten in trouble 2 times for using his phone in the courtroom. Shouldn't they boot him? Yes.
Damn. And because she just fired her PR team, right? A couple days ago.
I'm surprised that they haven't.
And now her new PR guy has been using the fucking cell phone in court. Yeah, he should be.
No.
Because didn't one of her, like, entourage get kicked out at the beginning of the hearing? Like a friend of hers or some shit like that got kicked out of court because she was using, like, she was tweeting or some shit, like, in the midst of Johnny Depp's testimony. Like, refuting what he said as he said it in the courtroom, even though the judge was like, no, you can't have your smartphone in the courtroom.
I don't think they want to make that argument. I think they want to stay away from that argument and leave the implication in the jury's mind, or ask Amber Heard, didn't he always wear these rings? But then you get into, like, them arguing about how much he wears the rings and stuff like that. Question, are jurors told not to let the lawyers sway their opinions? I can't imagine being on a jury and saying it won't sway me at all. But
no, lawyers, their job is to sway your opinion.
They're supposed to sway opinions.
Yeah, I was going to say that's their whole fucking job, man.
It's going to be critical.
I mean, you can lay out the facts however you want, but the facts, even facts themselves can be subjective in the way that people decide to interpret them. Like, there could be members of the jury right now that have seen things laid out exactly the way they've come across to us and still feel like Amber Heard is innocent. And it could be because they're a fucking an incel and worship the ground she walks on. You know what I mean? Even though they're supposed to weed out those people through the jury selection process, I could go in there and give a convincing story about how I have I don't know who Amber Heard is, but, you know, if they were like, how do you know Johnny Depp? Are you familiar with him? I'd just be like, I don't know. He's like a pirate, right? You know, like, I think he played a pirate. You know, but try to put it in such a way that I wanted to be a member of the jury. And I would register a guess that at least one of the jurors
Could Amber's case
completely bullshitted their way into becoming a juror just so they could be a part of this trial. I'm just saying. All right, it's not really a trial, I guess. You know, this hearing, because it's defamation. I think a trial of being more like a murder case or somebody going to jail for theft or some shit like that.
I do. Kina, I think the broad rulings that are consistent give you a lot less room for appeal on anything. I agree with you. Does JD need to prove Amber Heard's allegations were a hoax to beat her counterclaim? Well,
a hoax?
Yes and no. I mean, they need to show that she lied, really, because isn't a hoax a lie? So casting doubt on the authenticity, I think, might be enough for the jury, but we'll see. We'll absolutely.
So I think what she said earlier is that
husband asked
Johnny Depp's case is about to be over, and we're about to flip to Amber's counterclaim. Is that right? I guess that would make sense,
or didn't, i.e., they
right? Because it's a total of a 6-week hearing, and we're three weeks through almost.
Podcast. I can see them both losing. I cannot see a way for them to logically both win because
Yeah,
of what
I think they're gonna both lose. Well, no, let me say it this way. I think that if they both lose their claims of defamation against one another, I wouldn't be super mad at that judgment, okay? Even though I would disagree, right? I would, from my perspective, and I think the court of public opinion is pretty much in agreement that from what we've seen, Johnny was the victim of domestic abuse by Amber, okay? I think most people agree with that perspective. But when you get into like claims and counterclaims of defamation and you start discussing like quantities of money, right? Because it was like he sued her for defamation, and so she countersued for like more than what he sued for in the first place, which is absurdity, right? But I could see the jury being like, okay, look, you're both at fault, okay? You both stayed in this relationship way longer than you should have. It was obvious pretty early on that it wasn't going to work out. Like, you both were toxic. You both were going through some shit. I mean, Johnny had substance abuse issues. And I'm going to just put it out there. I think most people with any shred of dignity and common sense would completely agree with the perspective that Amber severely hindered his recovery process. I mean, there's probably a case to be made that if they hadn't continued trying to work shit out between the two of them, that he could have been far more successful in reducing his substance abuse. I'm not saying that it would have completely gone away, because despite it being kind of a bad take in most people's minds, as an addict, I do agree with the sentiment that once an addict, you are always an addict, and you will be till the day you die. It just becomes a matter of how well do you cope with and keep your addiction under control. So, in Johnny's case, if they hadn't continued trying to work shit out, it's possible that he would have been able to get into a successful addiction management regimen and stick to it. Speaking from personal experience, it's all about managing your triggers and minimizing them, right? And it's really hard to understand, and it's even harder to accomplish. But when you get into treatment and you get into a recovery program, the biggest part that you have to stick to is avoiding your triggers and avoiding the type of crowd that used to push you to using previously. The hardest part for myself in trying to adjust the crowd that surrounded me, it wasn't that I had like a ton of friends that were users, okay, whenever I really fell off the deep end. It was that the few people that I had that were my closest friends were also my family, you know, and they were also using. You know, it's not like there was an ass ton of them or anything. But it kind of became beneficial as well, because we both kind of got to the point where we wanted to heal and we wanted to try to, you know, get control of the addiction. And, you know, we both entered treatment at very similar times. I went first, and then once I was able to get the system figured out and get everything established, I was able to convince my relative to join as well and get into the treatment program. And then it just became about staying away from the bad shit. And but it has to be your number one focus. Like, it can't just be a passive, oh well, I'm gonna do my best to stay away from this, or I'm gonna do my best to stay away from this trigger, or I'm gonna do my best to avoid this substance. You can't. Your best isn't good enough.
We'll see what happens on cross. They picked the jurors that they thought were best.
And what I mean is, you can't just try. You have to do. Sorry, I am having like the worst allergy problem right now, and I have to take some nasal spray.
So we'll see. During your commentary, thank you. Are they allowed to bring up testimony in the London case, in the U.S. case? Yes, for impeachment purposes, and they have been. Thank you so much.
Oh my God.
Catnip tip. Can JD file a separate lawsuit for actual DV, or is that a bad idea at this point? It's past the statute of limitations. Would be satisfying to see Amber Heard do community service. Nope, not going to happen. Past the statute. Hello from Malaysia. Hello. Not a lawsuit, but I enjoy your commentary and learns lots of stuff. That is the goal, is to help people learn lots of stuff. I can't even focus on what he's saying because I love to be instantly annoyed at Rottenborn's voice. And that's a problem for the jury, too, that Rottenborn needs to be aware of. Too invested for this case to be dismissed. I think we all are. It wasn't going to be dismissed. If the lawyers changed their behavior, wouldn't it look bad? No, it might just be like, hey, this is our case now. Amber Heard's being kinder to their witnesses. I think it's kind of standard, and you expect the lawyers to be kinder to the witnesses they're calling.
Is there a bright light on the end of her fucking lip gloss? Holy shit.
We explained the motion to dismiss Allie, and we just had to wait until the end, and I explained it a bit at the beginning of the stream as well. Do you think it will be addressed why Amber Heard recorded almost all the fights? They're going to have to ask her about it. I want to hear all about it. Her team should address it on direct. They should let her tell that story on direct examination. Wayne Dennison needs to be there for the rest of it. He's outstanding. I zoned out for a minute and I'm lost. Can you please explain what's happening? I think we got to it during the motion to dismiss. The judge was getting very sassy. He fumbled so hard. There were some fumbles in there. Go Benshu, heck yes. Tell him about that tweet. He definitely told him. Happy 1 year anniversary of it binged. Thank you. Love your... It is. Is today the day we hit 100K? A year ago? Maybe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're at like 246, I think. I work in corporate setting and find myself wanting to call out compound hearsay in meetings. I mean, right? But judge, why can't I just do it as I want? Stomps. Fair. Do they usually fight this hard for a dismissal? Yes, though it's probably a bit exaggerated in the level of theatrical performance due to this streaming of it all. But also, this is what Johnny Depp wants, right? I love that you go, Glenn Coco. I think we're past DEFCON Red, but thank you, Octo. The level of
All right,
argument.
I'm gonna feed the kitty cat.
They're doing what their clients want. They also know that they're streaming. So when Rottenborn was like, I think Ben wrote that speech for an audience outside this courtroom, he's probably not wrong. I think Ben Chu wrote it for both audiences. And this is also him fighting for his client. And both of these teams are fighting for their clients in their best way. I think Depp's team has been a bit savvier at it for sure, but they also have the advantage of going first. The mods are amazing. Did JD include the Washington Post in this suit? No, they don't. And it's going to, no, he didn't. And it's going to keep coming up. He didn't sue the ACLU either. And it's going to keep coming up. The court definitely denied the request and we moved on. Thank you for your commentary while in chemo. Be well, Olivia. I find the law so interesting and one day hope to study it. Get it. Yes, they were trying to get it dismissed. It failed. Why is there no jury right now? Linz, it's a great question. The jury cannot be in there while they're doing this type of argument. It's not evidence. The jury will get to hear the closings. No, Amber can't settle at this point. His case is closed. I mean, she could dismiss her own case, but that's not going to happen. Serving a stone cold can of whoop ass. Would you like another helping, Mr. Rottenborn? Mr. Rottenborn knows what he's up against with Mr. Chu. I think the names in this case of the lawyers have been fantastic. We're going to get a lot of shoot him up and spit him out. I can't wait to see the memes of this later. I can't wait to hear Mr. Chu on cross-examination either. Will JD's team be able to bring up the fact Amber Heard was arrested? Yes, it's going to come up. I think she should bring it up in her direct, but it will come up in cross-examination. Yep. Ben Chu is a great lawyer. And so I'm going to just pull up all the Ben Chu fan chats. Quote of the day, what does the average reader expect? He's not wrong. What an average reader looks at is more than the title on most articles. What average reader looks at more than the title. And that's a very fair point. And that's something he will argue to the jury. The headline gave the context for the rest of the article. I don't know. I think having Camille Vasquez do the cross on Amber Heard would be very powerful. He's waited 13 days for this moment. He's waited years for this moment. She's the abuser. He's waited for that. So whoever loses this case, what happens? They lose. That's it. It's to the end. Do you think they'll end up using video of the interview she did where she talks about the $5 million donation and wanted nothing? Likely. Hit that like. Thank you. Did Amber Heard provide the metadata? We're not there yet. And if the jury will hear about it when the court resolves that issue, I wish the jury could watch Ben chew this place up. They'll get to see it in closing. Considering stopping my monthly contributions to the ACLU, very disappointed after testimony from them. Believe in civil liberties, though. I think it's something that is worth asking them directly about. Hey, I donate to you. Why is this? And Ben Chew said it. He said they're once prestigious, I believe is what he said. Once prestigious name. Do you think he will be like this when he cross-examines Amber Heard's witness? I think, or is this special for the motion? I think this is his argument voice. I don't think this is his witness stuff. Can they bring up not providing metadata in rebuttal? They can bring it up on cross as well. How do you think Johnny Depp's counsel will do on cross? We're going to see. Hopefully like they've done in the depositions where they're pretty even keeled. This is getting wild. It was. I will probably do a separate short breaking down just this part later today.
Jesus, my allergies are so fucking bad today. I don't know why. It actually wasn't that bad this morning. It just started hitting me here recently.
Amber Heard trying to stare him down.
And it's always just the eyes. Like, it doesn't really bother me in any other fashion. I might get like an itchy nose.
Get to hear this. I know I answered that.
But my fucking eyes will just constantly run.
But it's a very powerful argument, and being in that room, you feel it. We smile on Amber Heard when the poop was mentioned. I didn't see that. I'll go back and watch.
There's a wee smile on Amber Heard.
Cats after this. Well,
always. Like, always a stupid smirk
happened today.
Coming out the side of her face.
And more to come.
All right. I'm probably going to wrap it up for now. I got to run into town, and I've got to go pick up a prescription and stuff like that. But I might be back on later. If not, I'll probably be doing some more streaming tomorrow. Probably start a little bit earlier than usual. Trying to get back onto a semi-regular schedule before I start this new job. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to start, but I should hear back any day now. So I'm going to hop off for now. Noni, I appreciate